We are live on a Saturday. Just waiting for DJ to unmute himself, and we're gonna get this started.
Saturday night is all right for fighting, especially on this show today.
Here we go. It's gonna be a show.
The good news is Collision's going to be on, so none of the sickos are going to bother us, hopefully, since they love AEW so much, right?
I hope they do. I want them to bother us.
Hey, listen, one can hope, okay? One can dream. But how's your Saturday, since we're not doing this on Sunday, because the goddamn Super Bowl has to be tomorrow. Fucking Seahawks and Patriots. Stupid shitty teams. Fuck you, Hub. Because I know you're over there saying, go Patriots.
I'm good. I'm keeping my cat, trying to keep... My cat has this thing that he loves climbing behind my wires and fucking with my whole system.
See, I kicked both my pussies out the room for the show today. One's in heat and the other one's up my ass all the time. So I'm just like, fuck that.
Yeah, he's locked in my room right now. So
I'm locked in my room right now. But yeah, interesting week. Like I said, it's been one of the more interesting weird weeks. Not really interesting in the wrestling sense, but interesting in the IWC just throws you for a fucking loop this week since. Like, where could we start? There's Nicola Piccolo partially losing his fucking mind out here, doxing people. We got people talking about gray areas in terms of pedophiles. We got discourse with the ratings because for the first time in like 12 weeks, AEW beat NXT. It's like the fifth time since the move to the CW. So, you know, NXT is like 64 to fucking 5. But also, we can also say AEW has been not suffering, but definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? Has been affected by the MJF effect. I think the reason the ratings are coming up is because AEW not even just MJF, I think all their star players right now being on television. You know, Kenny getting the single push, that stuff AEW fans want to see. They want to see Kenny mixing it up with the top guys like the Swerves, the Hangmans, the Andrades now. Andrade's actually somewhat being pushed where he should have been pushed in the first goddamn place. So it's like, there's some up things going up for AEW, kind of. I think they also fell down the fucking rabbit hole with a few things, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the Dynamite review. But overall, like, there's been a lot of shit going on in wrestling. Or at least the IWC.
So where would you want to start?
We can either start on our soapbox or we can start off with this Dynamite review, because there's something I really want to bitch about that happened this week.
Is it the main event?
I think so. Was it the main event? I can't remember. I saw it in clip form. I didn't even watch the show fully this week.
Yes, it was the main event, and yes, the jet has landed to tell you and everybody that Brandon the Heel and DJ will be reviewing all my actions, and I am on probation. So they are my probation officers until further notice. They're going to keep me out of trouble, and they're making sure I don't do no wrongdoing, because right now the Jet is going to be a wrestler, and they're going to review my first match, promo, segments. They're going to do all that, so stay tuned. But Brandon and DJ are my official representatives of the Jet brand.
I don't know if I want to be a representative of that brand. I want to be a representative.
Especially with how racist Brandon is apparently now. You know what I mean? Stop. I'm just fucking with you.
I mean, I usually like backing winners. I mean, if we back the Jet, you know, that's a guaranteed loser.
Oh, goddamn.
I'm no loser. With me, you never lose. So, hey.
You know who else you never lose with? Your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, okay? He will always protect you. He will always make you feel like you're a winner when you're down. Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Remember him.
Yes, amen. So, like I said, Brandon and DJ, I'm gonna be reviewing everything.
Let me just start off. We're gonna start off with the main event and how much I fucking hated it. Because I saw again. I'm gonna state I didn't, for the first time in like 4 weeks. I didn't wake up Thursday morning and watch Dynamite. I just saw the clips. Okay, because A, my son was sick, and B, I honestly didn't give a fuck this week. So when I seen Brody King squash their world champion. Now, I think we all here can sit here and agree.
Oh, wait, something happened. Hold on. Something just screwed up. Crap. Technical difficulties. Hang with us.
Why you do that?
Hold on, I'm all screwed up here. Just having some technical difficulties here. What is going on here? Can anyone hear me? Sorry, folks who are listening live, bear with me. I'm just having some Twitter issues. Okay, we're going to get back to this. I apologize to everyone. I don't know what happened. I'm just getting DJ back in here. And then we're going to continue the conversation. I don't know what exactly went wrong. But we are going to talk about Dynamite. We're going to talk about the MJF main event as soon as DJ gets back in here. I'm waiting for DJ. What is going on here? Why am I not? I'm having real technical difficulties, guys. I apologize. This is the first time we've had these kind of issues, so just bear with me. We're going to get this back going. I apologize. I'm having some sort of connection issues to Twitter right now. We're still live streaming, so now it's just a matter of getting myself back with DJ. Hold on, we're about to get back on. I'm waiting for him to send the link. I am so sorry to anyone who's listening, and when we record this, I apologize for this. I'm going to get back onto a space, and we're going to hopefully get this. There we go. We got people back in. Okay. I apologize. I don't know what happened there. DJ, you with me?
Round 3.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck just happened. Freaking Twitter just dumped on me. I'm just waiting for DJ to.
It's the Wrestling Collective's after your ass now.
Apparently, yeah. I'm telling you. They got in touch with Elon. DJ, unmute yourself.
And they both hold.
Funny thing is, I was live streaming the entire time, so.
The live stream, and it was just the Twitter side.
Never stopped live streaming. It's still going. I'm looking at it on my screen. But where'd DJ go now? There he is. Let me try to re-invite him as a host. Approve. Invite co-host.
Okay, first off, don't joke with the collective fucking with us now. Please don't joke like that.
I don't know what happened there.
It's a gray area. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the nuance of what was going on with this, I don't know. I lost the nuance, but we were live streaming the entire time, so. All right, we're back. DJ, you there?
Okay, there we go. Again, Twitter and Elon keep fucking with me. I went to accept the co-host request, and then it's like, oh, we ain't gonna let you speak no more. What the fuck?
Okay.
Ugh.
All right. I apologize.
Now, back to where we were. Let's restart this shit. Hi, everyone. This is DJ and the Heel, motherfuckers. Take 2. Let's hope Spectrum. We all know how Jim Cornette has his Spectrum problems. Let's not start getting Brandon on the fucking list. But back to the point. MJF versus Brody King. Now, I think we can all agree that we don't have an issue with Brody King getting a push or a main event push.
Well, most of us. I know someone does, but, he's not here right now.
There's someone in the ethos who probably doesn't like the push, but I don't mind it because, A, it's Tony pushing his big guy, and we're always bitching about that, how Tony has this stigma against anyone who's above 6'4" and 220 pounds. So it's a kind of a refreshing difference that he's giving one of those big guys a push. But you have this guy squash your world champion to have a match that you know damn well he's not gonna fucking win. And it like, I get you're trying to just beat the chicken shit heel, but you squashed him clean and made him look like a bitch. There's no reason why Brody King shouldn't do the exact same goddamn thing in Australia. One tackle, pancake, 1, 2, 3. Get the belt off of MJF. He's a joke. He's no longer your top star, and get him the fuck out of here.
Well,
so that's basically what you told me.
In defense, it was not clean. Hangman was interfering and distracting. That doesn't take away from the fact that it's still MJ fucking F. And you just buried him in 30... I shouldn't say buried. He's not buried. You squashed him. You jobbed him out in 3 minutes.
Yeah, let's correct this. We're not saying he's buried, but he's definitely been devalued. Can you at least admit that a bit, Brandon? Like, he's definitely been devalued a bit.
I don't want to say devalued yet, because I want to see the follow-up and where it goes from there. Because we've seen...
Here's where I think it's going. I think it's going. The only way I can see this logically making sense is if Buddy returns and turns on Brody King and costs him the match, due to MJF paying off his, former tag team partner, because Buddy couldn't have that whole, you know, well, you went off to be tag team champions without me. You forgot about me. You made friends with this schlub, Bandito, who's not even fucking around anymore. Like, I feel like that's gonna be. I feel like that's the only logical way to save this, because unless MJF comes out like Popeye or just obviously takes the Triple H type of steroids, I don't see what the fuck the point of just squashing your world champion.
I mean, I don't understand the logic in what they did that for. To me, it made no sense. Why why are we making him look so weak? Even though, you had all the outside interference and all that shit, and then everyone just like kicking him in the balls at the end and stuff like that. It just made no sense to me. It didn't protect them, and it sure as hell wasn't a situation that you're going to make MJF look stronger. So even as a heel,
if WWE did some shit like this to Drew McIntyre,
forget about
CM
it.
Punk, you know what I mean? We would never hear the fucking end of it, and
No.
it'd be rightfully so, because it's fucking stupid. He's your world champion. He's had one title defense against another glorified mid-carder. Sorry, Bandito. You know what I mean? I'm just speaking the truth here. He's a glorified mid-carder. And they've been doing a great job as of late of setting up a good amount of challengers for MJF to go through. Swerve, Hangman, Kenny, Brody. Like, those are all guys. All right, cool. It's different. It's something I want to see. It's something we can get into, etc., etc. But just squashing him in a match with Brody King, knowing damn well Brody King ain't beating him in Australia. There's no fucking way Brody King's going to be the world champ. I'm sorry. Not with all the matches they're already teasing with MJF. With Swerve, with a rematch with Hangman, a potential match with Kenny, because they're using Kenny as a top singles guy again, as they fucking should. Keep him away from the other two fucking dipshits as long as you can, Tony, because we know you hear what the fuck Brandon says every once in a while. We all know he's on your radar, so by virtue, hopefully now I am. Don't put the other two dumb fucks next to Kenny. It doesn't work. They ain't sapping any more over off of him. They suck. They're done. They're finito. Use them to get some of your other tag teams over. Have them do some fucking jobs. They got it. They haven't lost a step in ring, but it's the same joke, the same routine, and the same shit we've seen for 6 fucking years now. They're donezo. Get them out the picture, leave them home, pay them whatever the fuck you already signed them for, and let them do their EVP things behind the scenes. But back to the MJF point, I think they devalued him. And they're continuing to devalue him. It's not like they haven't been devaluing MJF. They've been doing it for a year since he came back. They started off really bad with whatever the fuck that Adam Cole return angle was. They paired him with the Hurt Syndicate. That worked for about 6 weeks until they blew that up. Then he went missing again. Then he comes back out of nowhere to get a 4-way title shot. All right, cool. He wins the 4-way. His first fucking feud is Bandito. Oh, so riveting. And his in terms of the MJF promos, it is kind of the same shtick over and over and over again. So it's not even like he's better on the mic, because he doesn't have anyone to go toe-to-toe on the mic with. And the issue why MJF sounds the same every promo is because he has no one to elevate his game.
Do you feel he's almost in the same area that Cody is in right now? He's just kind of running in place?
I think it's worse because with Cody, he got bland because he had no opponents. You know what I mean? He had no interesting. Cody had a very limited amount of interesting feuds that he could have done, and WWE has gone out their way to not do those feuds and give Cody everything else. The Randy Ortons, the CM Punks, the LA Knights, those would be good feuds. And you know what I mean? And even though the him and Punk thing would have been a better babyface versus babyface match than him and Roman, because at least Cody and Punk have, tension that they have unresolved. Punk and Roman were literally in the main event last year. So I don't think MJF's in the same position as Cody, because it's not like Tony's trying to avoid giving MJF solid opponents. He's done, again, for once, Tony has done a great job elevating people to MJF's level and giving him challengers that people want to see him go against. Like, I'd be pissed if he came out of nowhere and gave fucking Speedball a goddamn title shot.
You wouldn't be the only one.
We know who would be the other one, but let's not get to that point, because if we start talking about it, he'll appear.
Joe Hendry's here?
Oh, we won't talk about that yet also until later. That might be another thing too. But no, I don't know what we can do with MJF anymore. Like, again, I was excited to see all the challengers he was going to go against. I was kind of excited to see what this Eliminator match was, to see how MJF, I thought they could have had a good match out of it. But the story to me makes little to no sense.
I'm wondering if it was. I want to know. I want to find out if it was done on the fly, or if that was the plan the entire time, because they came out pretty close to 10 o'clock. I'm wondering if that was a last minute decision because they were running out of time.
For Australia?
No, they were running out of time for Dynamite on Wednesday.
Oh.
When the main event happened, Brody was coming out. It was like 7 minutes to 10.
No, I think that was the plan though. Usually I'd be on your side because AEW manages their time terribly. But no, with how quick it was and how they actually at least I assume they didn't do an overrun. Like, I think this was the plan. I don't think this was I think in terms of last minute, I would think, maybe like a Tuesday or something, like, hey, let's do something different to try to pick up the rating. But I don't know. I think that match this week, seeing that, might kill the rating for next week. We'll see.
Well,
it turned me off.
I'm going to tell you this. The ratings for next week's Dynamite will be interesting for two different reasons. One, the political message and the 24 hours of mainstream that came out of it. And on the flip side, the booking decision, which obviously, all the sickos loved it. They will never say anything that it was a bad decision. But, I see a lot of people who are like, you just squashed your world champion in 3 minutes. So,
not even just your world champion, your most interesting character you have right now. And I was saying this in Co-Pro space either yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was making this point of the most over people in AEW, or who's ever gotten over in AEW, were all characters. Hangman, when he first got over and became world champion, he was a character. He was a drunk. He was the drunken guy who couldn't, stop drinking and get, out of his own way. And eventually he did it. He stopped drinking and he became world champ. The same thing with Toni Storm. Toni Storm's basically a walking fucking character. Became the top woman on that roster over Britt Baker. Britt Baker, when she started and got over, giant character. MJF, a character. Hurt Syndicate, definitely characters. Like, and when I mean characters, I mean people who exude more personality to where they can stand out from the bunch, to where a lot of people in AEW don't really have a lot of personality. Fletcher's starting to get some. Like, he's finally starting to get comfortable in his own skin. and is developing a personality, which is why he's getting over. He's not getting over because he does more wrestling moves. He's getting over because he can talk more. He can get people interested in what he's doing. And I just feel like AEW fans are like, don't get that fact or don't understand that fact. Like Ricochet isn't over in or super over in AEW because he has a bad personality. He's bad at, you feel me? The personality he has in AEW is bad. It's not like he doesn't have personality. He does now, out of nowhere. It's just his personality is one of a bitch. But let me go ahead, Brandon. Sorry, I'm filibustering too long.
No, go be my guest.
But yeah, no, I hated that main event. I thought it was one of the worst things I've seen. It's crazy because I seen this show. I seen one of the best things I've ever seen on AEW television, and I've seen one of the worst things. And it encapsulates everything about AEW that makes it AEW. The inconsistencies in the booking. Like, I was gonna say, I'll talk about the positive of the show. Andrade versus Kenny. Phenomenal fucking match. One of their best TV matches they've had on television. Kenny can still go as a top single when you use him right as a top single. He didn't go balls to the wall in this match, but he had a solid TV match. He got Andrade shit over. And he treated Andrade like a main eventer that up to his level. It was fucking perfect. And then the finish, it protected Kenny because, they didn't want to blow their load giving Kenny and MJF immediately, which is smart. They should save that for a big pay-per-view like a Revolution, or I'm trying to think what's between Evolution and fucking
Dynasty?
All In.
Dynasty's in April.
But go ahead.
Dynasty's in April. And then you have Double or Nothing. Then Forbidden Door, and then All In.
Okay, so yes, you can save a Kenny for a Dynasty. I think Dynasty would work. A good place to do a Kenny versus MJF match.
It's it's not going to be Revolution now because that's going to probably end up being Hangman.
It's going to be Andrade.
I don't think Andrade is going to win that match. I don't think they're going to do a heel versus heel match.
I can see Tony doing it.
What do you got to lose?
Brandon Ace, let me ask you, did you see, well, two questions I'm going to ask you. What do you think about MJF getting squashed, and what did you think about Kenny and Andrade? If you're there.
Say that again.
What did you think about Kenny and Andrade, and how did you feel about MJF getting squashed by Brody King?
Okay, let's go with the first thing with Andrade versus Kenny. I think it was a spectacular match, and AEW is really pushing Andrade to be this main event top guy, which is using his strengths because we all know he can't really speak English like that, so they're letting his wrestling do most of the talking, and the finish made sense. It kept Kenny clean, and Andrade gets the victory.
No, and it helps. And honestly, it makes me look for. Usually, I hate babyface versus babyface match, but in AEW, it really doesn't matter. So, doing the Kenny versus Swerve match, I think Kenny higher up on the card. I'd be interested in that.
I think Swerve's probably turning heel against Kenny. After what happened with him versus Andrade, I think Swerve's turning heel.
Which would be a good thing for AEW, though, because they need more heels.
Fair. And for the whole Brody King squashing MJF, I mean, was it a squash? Yes, but MJF got distracted. And it made Brody King look strong because, well, they got to push big men. Is he going to win at Australia? Probably not.
I'm sorry. Time out.
But it'll
How's
be good
wait?
matchup.
Time out. Time out. Time out. How does it make him look strong when he needed help to beat MJF? That
I
doesn't
mean, he
make
got his
that doesn't make
Just
him
because
look.
of how hold on,
Brandon,
Brandon. Brandon, I can at least answer that for Brandon. It's because of how quick it was. Because
Yeah.
of if it was 5 minutes, it wouldn't have made him look as big as intimidating. So the fact that it took him like 2 moves to fucking beat MJF, that does to a small extent make him look strong. But my point is, they made him look too strong to the point of like when we know he's gonna lose this match in Australia. Like, why make him so strong if he's just gonna lose? Now, he's probably not gonna lose clean in Australia. There's gonna be some huge fucker out for MJF to beat him, but that's not gonna give MJF any more heat back. I like I said, I feel like they did this the wrong way. And if they were looking for a match for Australia, I think Andrade could have been the perfect opponent. Doing the Andrade match would have been more beneficial to everybody than having Brody King squash him, no matter interference or not, the week before the big show. That's my only issue.
Is there a chance they put the belt on Brody?
Hell no. Fuck no. What would be the point of it?
Like I said, you know, they have this quote unquote mainstream attention right now. That would be to put the belt on him for a short run. You capitalize on something like that. That would be the only thing.
I doubt it.
But that wouldn't help interest or intrigue. And again, if he beats MJF, you're definitely devaluing him way more than the fucking squash match. Like,
I mean, when does MJF's contract run out?
end of this year.
Are you sure it's this year?
He's a free agent in 2027. I know that.
I thought it was next. I thought it was 2028.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, you had him squash your world champion in a random dollar. First of all, you're doing a number of
Well, it was. Hold up. It was
Brandon, listen.
Eliminator
Who cares? Anyways, you have him squash your world champion in a random match, a eliminator match, but you're also having the eliminator tournament, but you're trying to establish Brody as a contender for the world title. Why not have Brody enter this eliminator tournament? They're about to have Andrade win. Shouldn't you have put Brody in there trying to build him up to be a contender for the world title?
So, yes and no. It depends. Because, again, I think doing the eliminated tournament the way they did helped establish more potential challengers for MJF in the future. I think Brody King isn't a long-term plan. I think he's a short-term solution. They want to elevate him to a lower main event, upper mid-card type of guy. So I can see them either throwing the TNT belt on him or the international belt on him, one of those two titles. So that's why I don't think he can benefit.
But you already proved that you can. Well, it makes no sense for him to go into the pay-per-view and lose a 50-50 match.
By the way,
not with the people who were in the tournament. With Swerve, it was Swerve, Hangman, Kenny, and who else was the first guy?
But if you even go into the pay-per-view, I'm talking about Brody King. You have MJF match at Grand Australia. They kind of defeat the point of him squashing him.
Jet, you're all robot.
If he's going to beat a competitive match.
You're a robot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jet, you're going to have to join back in a second. You robot in the fuck up.
Well, I don't know what the
But
fuck.
no, I get what you're saying, though.
I'm glad you could, because I couldn't figure it out.
I heard bits and pieces.
And by the way, I think it's the end of 2027 because I looked it up. MJF signed a multi-year extension in 2022. Most likely it was a 5-year deal, so I'm going to assume end of 2027.
No, I'm pretty sure he re-signed in 2024 when his contract was up. I could be wrong.
It says here, reports indicate he quietly signed a multi-year extension in 2022, keeping him with the company beyond his heavily teased 2024 bidding war
Yeah,
date.
he signed a multi-year extension in 2022 that expired in 2024. 2 years is multi-year.
I mean, I don't.
And then he probably signed another 2 years for a 7-digit salary because I don't see MJF locking himself down for that long when he knows he can keep getting more money every couple of years. You know what I mean? What would be the point of signing a long-term contract and then within that long-term contract you increase your value even more, and then what? You're gonna you can't renegotiate. It makes more sense for him to sign. If you want to keep me for a few years, yeah, I got you. But in terms of like, I don't think he's locked down like a Swerve or, like the Bucks are, or Kenny are, or even Moxley. Like those guys have probably like 3 to 5 year deals because they probably want to stay around for the long term.
Well, I know
and their value isn't going to be increasing anytime soon.
Well,
it's not like WWE is going to pay Tony money to Moxley to fucking return.
Well, we know that Moxley did sign a 5-year deal when he re-signed a few years ago, but he's not going anywhere, no matter what, anyway.
No, I'm just saying if you're thinking about it from a wrestling standpoint, like guys like Swerve's going to sign a 5-year deal because within the next 5 years, Swerve's not going to be more valuable than he is now in 5 years. And realistically, especially with the mileage he's putting on his body and the likelihood of where he works of him getting more bigger injuries. So you know what I mean? So like MJF's been playing it smart his last few contracts because his first contract he signed a long one. You know what I mean? 4 years. I'm with y'all till 2022, 2023. Then he signed the multi-year extension to 2024. He stayed, re-signed again. I think he's there till end of this year or maybe end of 2027, the latest. But I don't think he's locked down like most of those guys. I think he's playing it smart because he knows every couple years his value's going to definitely increase. It's already showing in the AEW spectrum. Ever since he's become world champion, ratings have gone up drastically. Like and especially with him being on the shows, they've gone up drastically. They're no longer hitting the low 500s, or high 400s. They're getting 600K now almost every week now because of MJF. That's a 150K increase based on what they're getting. That's 15 to 20%. You know what I mean? So MJF can prove that he is a draw, definitely for AEW, and that he has value. He's more valuable than a Swerve who's been on television. The only other person who can be, responsible for those numbers is Kenny, because Kenny and MJF has been on the same amount of shows, or at least the same shows that have been increasing the ratings. So it's like, you got to look at it from a certain perspective of if you're a wrestler and you know your value is going to keep increasing every few years, are you going to sign a long-term contract to where you can't renegotiate and you're just going to be paid the same amount of money when you know you're worth more?
Well, let me ask you something. Well, you're talking about, the ratings and who's responsible. Are we at a point that there isn't a single responsible person for ratings anymore?
No. I can't say that. Even though we don't have the metrics to prove them the same way we used to because of the change in the Nielsen data, but we can still somewhat prove based on somewhat of the overall numbers and who's on the show and the quality of the show who are draws.
See, that's why I disagree with that because it's not like it was, when we had like the Monday Night Wars. You would have like Austin start Raw, and then he'd be in the middle, and then he'd be at the end, in the main event, and there's that whole connective tissue. Now we have everyone in individual segments, and it's very rare that they're going through the entire show. So
Well,
I don't.
You got to think about it like this though, because when the quarter hour breakdowns used to come, when Thurston used to drop the quarter hour breakdowns all the time, you could see which quarter, you would know which quarters would draw and which ones weren't based on the increase and decrease and the fluctuations of the time. So like MJF, usually when they were dropping quarter hours, he was the one who was always up, and then it would always decrease after his segment. So like you can prove somewhat to a small you used to be able to prove to a small extent now in the modern era who were draws and who are not. But now with how the Nielsen data is changed and it's half-hour blocks, they measure everything out instead of every 15-minute quarters. It's hard because so many wrestling companies can throw so much shit in a quarter, and they won't know if it works or not based on if it draws or drops, because it's going to be a different type of fluctuation. So it's like the only way you can really tell who and who aren't draws is basically social media impressions and YouTube views. And even then, MJF is still getting he's getting the top viewed segments on YouTube. So like, he's interesting, at least in their fans' eyes. You get what I mean? There are still metrics you can prove who's drawing and who's not, and who's helped bringing up interest and who's not. But it's definitely a lot harder to find said data. You have to look harder for said data.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, and it's not just AEW, just all around. I feel like it's more for the brand and the show itself than it is necessary for a singular talent. And it goes for like in ticket sales too. When they're talking about Cody's a draw or Roman's a draw. I haven't myself seen anything to back up that ticket sales increase based on a specific person.
Well, ticket sales is such a harder thing to gauge now because, again, wrestling's been nationalized. It's not like people don't keep track or know the drawing rates of certain areas, or you feel me? Everything is what you said earlier. It's more about the brand name than the individual themselves. People aren't going to sit here and be like, oh, well, WWE, when they hear WWE's coming to town, they're not coming to, oh my God, I can't wait to see Roman Reigns. So like, oh my God, I can't go wait to see the WWE show with all the stars they have. You know what I mean? So like, but there are few examples, like a John Cena. For his last tour, you could prove John Cena was a draw because every show that Cena was announced for sold out. At least for his final tour, because it was the last time you were seeing John Cena.
Yeah.
Like, there are still people you can prove that are major draw. Like Brock is still somewhat of a major draw. And they don't really do it anymore, but if they announce Brock Lesnar like ahead of time for a show, best believe people are paying to go see that because they want to see Brock do Brock shit. And you can say the same to a smaller extent with Roman. Roman is that level of a star. He's on a Brock Cena drawing power level. CM Punk is slightly below that because I think the thing about CM Punk when he came back, had that type of star power. You know what I mean? Because nobody thought they'd see Punk again, and people thought they'd still never. We didn't know how long we had him. Now we know we got Punk forever. Punk ain't going nowhere. He ain't leaving wrestling until he's like done. He's not going to quit. He loves the money he's making now. So I think in terms of who's a draw, you can tell based on social media impressions, YouTube views, maybe occasional. You can still somewhat tell by ticket sales, but it's still very gaugy because the wrestling company and the brands are a lot bigger than the names nowadays. The names don't mean as much as they used to where, back in the 90s, if you knew The Rock and Stone Cold were coming to your town, people were buying tickets.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I just feel. I mean, obviously Chicago is an outlier. It's always going to sell out when Punk's in town. He's like a god in Chicago, and by extension, AJ Lee, as we saw from that SmackDown when she returned. I just don't feel that And maybe it's because there's like really no house shows, so you really can't tell. Because otherwise, it's just people buying the tickets to see the TV. I think we would have a better idea if there were more house shows to see if someone like Cody is really drawing as a champion or not a champion, or if Drew's drawing as a champion. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I definitely get what you mean, though. What else on AEW did you want to talk about this week? We talked about the good and the bad. Let's talk about the in the middle shit.
I think that I'm going to talk about the women's world title on AEW because they're at a very interesting point in my view because they had Thekla against Statlander. I think it was last week. Statlander won, and they're already doing a rematch. And if Statlander goes over again, you basically cut off Thekla's legs as someone who could be a top heel for the company. If she loses a world title, women's title match for the second time in a row, and I think they made it. It's going to be a strap match. So it's like, do you pull the trigger on Thekla, or are you ending Statlander's run on a episode of Collision?
So, I think I agree with you on the whole Thekla point. She can't lose another title match, or she's dead in the water. And I also feel that Statlander's title reign at this point is stale as shit. It's not her fault. Tony had no realistic challengers for her outside of Tony Storm. He hasn't built any other women up in that women's division. It's because all the other women have been stuck in the Mercedes vortex for the past year.
And Tony too. Let's not as much
or
as
the Tony vortex. You know what I mean? He kept jobbing everyone out to the two top girls.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not a Mercedes fan, but let's be fair. She shared that vortex with Tony.
But Tony was over and she was the bigger star. You know what I mean? At least Tony's shit was still over and she was getting reaction, and she was in her Rhea Ripley phase in terms of dominance. You know what I mean? Where Rhea was having her dominant run, and no matter who Rhea was going through, she was just going through him as champion. But it worked because Rhea was that over. She was that big of a star. I think Thekla needs to win this. Just for the fact that we need to make some newer women baby faces and get some other women over in that division. Statlander's already made. Willow's already made. Tony's not going to not be a star. If anything, she's going to start getting less over now by the week. And we need to establish more of the Sky Blues, the Julia Harts, the Red Velvets. Fucking Athena. Where's Athena?
She's in the ROH vortex.
You know what I mean?
Or ROH
there's
purgatory.
Other women we can establish on this roster that we haven't been already establishing for the past 4 years. And I know Tony's been doing the Britt Baker fucking press tour again, but if she comes back, I don't know what she's going to do of any fanfare or anything.
Well, what if you,
I think, then there's still Persephone in the fucking, the back seat just chilling. She's going to Ring of Honor right now. That's a young baby face you can start pushing.
But if you put on, I was going to say, if you put on Thekla, who's going to be her challenger going into this, I guess, the road to Double or Nothing, for lack of a better terminology to steal from WWE? It's like, if you take it off Statlander, who's going after Thekla after this?
You could say the same thing for Statlander, too, if she wins, though. Who else is Statlander going to beat? Honestly, I don't know. The only way I can see Statlander winning and possibly having a decent opponent to go to next is do her and Megan Bayne again, and then put the belt on Megan Bayne. That's what I would do.
I mean, you got Mercedes. She hasn't won the world title yet.
Oh, She's still holding the TBS title hostage.
No, she doesn't. She lost
Oh
it.
no, she isn't. No, she's not. I lied. She lost it to Willow.
Yeah, but Willow hasn't defended that title yet either. Because she's got the tag, because she's been doing the tag teams.
And I was just gonna bring that up too. They still have to, deal with the tag division. Hopefully that he brings in the inspiration so they could just take the belts off them immediately.
Do you really
do
you really want the inspiration?
Pick up where they left off from TNA in terms of being champions?
Do you really think they're on the level of AEW?
Who?
The inspiration.
It depends. If you want them to have fucking 5-star barn burners, no, they're not the best. They're not the most polished female tag team in the world, but they're the most effective. They can do what they can get. They can get those belts and that division over the way Tony wants / need them to get over. As much as they're not the best in-ring technicians in the world, in terms of the tag team, a female tag team, there's not a bigger female tag team name out there than them.
I mean, I honestly think that it's going to end up being Megan and Penelope winning the tag titles. They just, they made their name official.
Hell no, I think you need to get Megan as far away from Penelope as possible. I think Penelope and her husband are the fucking AEW equivalent of Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. Whatever the fuck the Pixie's name is. I'm saying though, how long has Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford had a fucking job in AEW? 6 years, right? What the fuck have they done of note? This is the best and most you've seen of Penelope ever. Where's Kip Sabian?
You know what? The problem with Kip right now is that they put the entire angle with Christian on the back burner because fucking what's his face broke his leg for 6 months.
Wait, what are you guys talking about now?
How Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford are the equivalent of Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Well, at least they found something with Penelope because, Penelope is a good wrestler and she does have and you can't lie, she's gorgeous. She has a look.
So is Candice. Candice is great in the ring and she's kind of cute too.
Well, I think Candice is good in the ring, but if you put them between one another, it's obviously you can tell who.
Obviously, Penelope has had more surgery. Yes.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
And also, at least they found something for Penelope to do. At least they found her place as a tag team specialist, and also helping out Megan.
No, but she can be a tag team specialist, not with Megan Bain, because Megan Bain's not a tag team specialist.
Well, if
you're booking Megan Bain, hold on. If you're booking Megan Bain, possibly one of the biggest potential stars you have on that fucking roster, in a goddamn tag team, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. If anything, Megan needs the TBS title more than anyone on that roster. Willow don't need to be holding that shit hostage.
I mean, I do agree, but
you know what I mean? Megan Bain does not need to get lost in a division that Tony's barely even taking seriously right now. So, I don't think Penelope and Megan should win the belts. I think if you're gonna put the belts on anyone, have the inspirations come in as heels. Give them the belts. Let them be the bitchy heels.
Oh yes. I've been hearing rumors about the inspiration coming to AEW, and the AEW fans' reception is, it's not good.
That's fine, but if that's even better, you debut them as heels, you bring them in, you give them the belts, have them pick up where they left off from TNA, basically, and at least you have a real tag team establishing those belts in that division instead of two people you're just throwing together because you have no women's fucking tag teams. So,
I mean, you got the Sisters of Sin, they're a tag team. Well, the only legit tag team.
You get what I'm saying, though. Let's establish some more women, because again, there's better things you can do with Willow and Harley than just throwing them in the tag division and having them hold the belts hostage.
Yeah. I mean, especially they're defending them. They're not. It would make sense if
no, but Willow's definitely holding the TBS belt hostage.
I mean, fair. I do agree, and I feel like that's more on TK because you're not building any challengers. Like, how long has she held the belt? Like,
But it's also because Tony spent most of the year jobbing every woman in that fucking division to either Mercedes or Tony.
that is, yeah. They have some women down there, like
I'm saying
women.
he spent a year beating them all to the two top women, to where all the women feel like again, it's you got Tony and Mercedes, and then no one else on their level. Like, everyone is presented as a lower mid carder at best. Like, let's reestablish Jamie Hayter. Let's fucking push us a Sky Blue or Julia Hart or something.
Well,
That's what they win.
Jamie and Alex Windsor are going to be a tag team.
Yeah, they're throwing Jamie into the tag division.
I mean, her and Alex Windsor do make sense. They're both from the UK, and I think it will work. And also, maybe you can get a storyline with Queen Aminata turning heel, because Jamie Hayter pretty much just swap out her
but Brandon, that's like me saying let's throw Queen Aminata and Red Velvet on a team just because they're both black.
I mean, it happened. I mean, they were a team before, so it would make sense. They had a team before.
I'm saying, though, we shouldn't just be throwing Jamie Hayter in the tag division. Again, Tony's just throwing people together and expecting them to grow as a tag team. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's too many divisions, too many belts, too many things on Tony's mind that he wants around but is not focusing on. And we need less continuity with the belt pictures and all that. Like, you want to have the Continental belt? Fine. Get rid of the International.
Oh, that ain't gonna happen.
You know what I mean? We got it. You want to keep the International? Tell Ricochet we got to throw away the new belt we just gave you. Or, you feel me? Or let's just get rid of the cursed TNT title, because again, that belt is fucking cursed. I don't care what no one says. It is cursed. If I read you the goddamn lineage of that belt, you can't think of a good thing that's happened to a person that's had that belt. It's really amazing.
I mean, fair. I also know that Moxley's defending the Continental title against Takeshita. I'm like, why do I do think part of me feels like Moxley's retaining, but I think Takeshita is winning this. And oh my God, if they had Takeshita versus Okada with both titles on the line to bring back the unified title, I'm gonna rip my hair out, because I'm like, what was the point of having both belts being defused? What was the point of getting rid of the unified title in the first place? Then you could have just had the Continental tournament and say the winner becomes the unified.
Brandon, you're starting to turn into a robot.
Stop. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Still a little robot.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, hold on. I'm just saying, part of me feels like Takeshita might win the Continental title, which it might end off with both Okada versus Takeshita for both belts. And I'm like, so you pretty much are gonna do the whole unified title again. I'm like, that don't make no sense, because what was the point of splitting the titles if you're just gonna bring them back together again? Because I've heard AEW fans make the excuse of why the belts had to be separated, but if they're gonna do a rematch between those two with both belts on the line at Revolution, I'm gonna be like, then they should have never split the titles in the first place. Just kept the.
Listen, I'm done with the Mox. I purposely ignore anything Moxley or the Death Riders anymore, because it doesn't make sense. He's a babyface now in a group full of fucking heels, and the heels haven't turned on him yet, which makes, again, they're prolonging this turn for no fucking reason.
They're not heels, though.
And the worst thing about it is they're going up against a Don Callis family who are also heels.
But they're not. That's why they're not heels. They're actually baby faces.
But that is also dumb. Why?
You know, I take it back. They're not. It's not even that they're baby faces. They just are what they are, depending on who they're against. You got them feuding with the Don Callis family, but at the same time, you got Yuta and Marina feuding with Orange and Tony.
And you just saw, I was going to say, you just saw Pac wrestle as a heel against fucking Clone.
No, they were playing the baby faces in that 6-man tag on Wednesday.
I think the Death Riders are maybe like in the tweener role, if that makes sense.
Moxley's a baby face, and then the rest of the Death Riders move when, depending what they need him to do, they need them to do.
Listen, as far as I know, they're fucking heels. They're definitely not full-fledged baby faces. So until they establish themselves as full-fledged baby faces on a week-to-week fucking basis, they're heels. And it's just, I don't know. I ignore all the Moxley shit now. It's not even worth my fucking time.
But
hold on, let's get back to the women real quick.
I was about to say, because I'm gonna be honest, I do think Babies of Wrath retain, and the Inspiration is gonna make an appearance because they're from Australia. So it makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're coming in, and I think they should immediately win the belts.
I say you put that match at Revolution, which would make sense.
All right. Anything else AEW wise you want to get into, Brandon?
Yeah, one last thing. How smart is it of TK to put this show next Saturday night? Or not smart at all, I should say. You're gonna have this Grand Slam Australia, which Saturday is already a shitty night for TV, but you're having it on Valentine's Day.
Maybe he didn't have a choice. His prayer wasn't his choice.
He could have.
He may own.
Wait, how is it not his choice? He's the one who books. Wait, time out. Time out. Let me finish. How is it not his choice when he's the one who and his team books the arenas and where they fly to? You couldn't make it.
I was gonna say he did book this in advance. You can't say this is a last minute show, Brandon.
I'm just saying. Maybe the executives say you can only have this show on Valentine's Day.
Why? Why would it matter to them? It shouldn't have any. Warner Brothers shouldn't say. You could have booked this a week after. They could have gone to Australia next week instead of this weekend. And then you're stacking the show like it's a pay-per-view, and I just think we saw what happened last year.
Brandon, you also got to think about it too, with this long, split between pay-per-views. You got to wait from December to early March for your pay-per-view cycle. So I kind of get why you're trying to put on this quote-unquote super show, so he can, tie some loose ends to a small extent. I know it doesn't fully make sense to a logical person, but AEW sense of things, I kind of get why Tony is doing what he's doing and how he's doing it. And I honestly don't have a problem with doing it because WWE did the same thing with the first couple Saturday night's main events. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Also, let's be honest. Does anyone take Valentine's Day as a serious holiday nowadays?
Oh, hell yes. Anyone who gets pussy, we're just lucky that doesn't apply to the AEW fan base.
Well, I think wrestling fans in general, not just AEW fans. Come on.
No, I'm serious. Hell yes. If you're a normal man who gets pussy in this universe, yes, you're spending hella time, bread, awake, and staying away from a television because you're busy trying to get that ass.
Yeah, can you imagine going to dinner, with your girl coming home, and she's like, "Let me go put on something more comfortable," and you're like, "Me too," and you turn on the TV to go watch fucking Collision, it's like. She's going to go find someone else.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the whole. I don't think, but in terms of the AEW fan base and what they got left, I don't think it's going to affect their ratings or their bottom line. You know what I mean? I think people are going to go out the way to see it.
What if their lovers? What if both of them are wrestling fans? Shit, it could happen. You got
they're taking the day off. They don't love wrestling more than they love each other.
I mean,
if you're deciding to watch wrestling with your girlfriend on Valentine's Day, you have not only failed your relationship, that relationship is going to fail you.
What if that girlfriend likes wrestling? I mean, there are couples that like anime. Jeez.
No, I agree with you. You know, if it's a situation where, you know, I've seen there's like content creators that are together and they do shit together. And I could see that.
And then you notice 6 months later, those content creators aren't together.
But in all seriousness, what are the chances of A, an AEW fan having a girlfriend, and B, them finding a girlfriend that likes AEW just as much?
Oh, come on. Again, I think this applies to all wrestling fans, not just AEW. WWE fans, let's be honest, you think most of the AEW fans have girlfriends or wives?
Yeah, I think more WWE.
Yeah, because WWE caters to children. You know how children come up, Brandon? From fucking your wife or girlfriend. Or baby. Yes, I actually do think that in terms of, you know, WWE's audience, I definitely do think there's more women watching that show than AEW.
I mean, fair point. But I just feel like, I'm going to be honest, Valentine's Day is one of those holidays where men have to pretty much got to spend a whole lot of money to please a woman. I'm like, goddamn, I'm like, do you care about me or do you just care about my wallet?
No, they want to see the effort.
Wife, happy life.
They want to see the effort to show the love you have for them. That's what it's about. It's not about how much you spend. It's about how you appreciate them and show the love for them.
Well, what you plan to do for your wife on Valentine's Day, Mr. Heel?
Well, if it was up to me, serve her with papers. But you know, but my girlfriend is coming out, so I will not be watching Collision. That's for sure.
And I'm gonna probably be busy that day too. Not gonna lie. No.
And honestly, all right. If it wasn't Valentine's Day, yeah, if it wasn't Valentine's Day, I probably wouldn't be watching Collision either way anyway. I never watch Collision because it's Saturday night. I'm working or I'm out. But I did watch it last week because I wanted to see what they were going to do with Ciampa. So, you know.
I mean, where do you go out when it's cold outside? It's freezing.
I know, but.
Also, aren't you like in your 50s? Like, I'm pretty sure.
No, I ain't in my 50s.
He's like, Brandon, you're wrong. He's like 75, okay?
Contrary to popular belief on Twitter, I am not in my 50s.
Okay, fair enough. But let's be honest. Nowadays, like, going out when you were young feels good, but when you get older, it's like, I don't feel like it. Because, let's be honest, we usually will come home on a Saturday or Friday at 1 or 2 o'clock. Now we just got to come home at like 10 or 11.
Oh, I'm not out till 4 in the morning. Don't get me wrong. I'm asleep by 11. But, you know, I'm not home at 8 o'clock either.
All right. Again, let's get back to the wrestling stuff. All right. Closing thoughts on Dynamite this week. I give it, if I'm giving it a star rating, I want to say solid 2 3/4 star. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 3. I'll give it a 3. It was, it had its good, had its bad. The in the middle was what you expect from AEW. I hate that Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy are fucking together. It's like Tony's trying to personally make me suffer, but it's neither here or there. But yeah, I give it 3 out of 5. It wasn't the worst show ever. They at least showed me some star power in terms of AEW, but they have a lot to build on.
I'm actually not gonna rate it that low. I'm gonna rate it more like maybe 3.75. Obviously, I was not a fan of the ending angle. I won't even call it a match. I think it was more of an angle at this point. But otherwise, I didn't. Obviously, also the Orange Cassidy shit it's just so cringe, and it's not even Orange. It's Tony Storm who's so cringe. So that was really the worst part, with the exception of the booking of MJF. So I'm gonna go 3.75.
All right. I want to talk about SmackDown real quick. I don't want to dive too much into SmackDown.
Is there a specific part of SmackDown you would like to talk about?
Two of them. One, the Drew promo, because I thought it was fucking perfect and great. And two, how they're smashing Oba over They did two perfect segments with Oba. This is the best booking WWE has done of anyone in fucking months, because this Oba shit has been great, and the people he's been doing his shit with has been even better. Him squashing the Viking Raiders first was perfect optics. I know you didn't like it because you thought it was them killing one of their tag teams, but the fact that WWE has never given a fuck about tag teams, it didn't really bother me. It kept to the WWE lore of things, and it made Oba look strong as a motherfucker.
Yep.
And then hold on, Brandon, give me a second. Oh shit, we got Wrestling Jesus in here. Hallelujah.
He's been here.
Stopped.
He's working.
But,
I don't think he could talk. Oh, he speaks.
To save the day.
He speaks.
Come to save the day. But let me get up past this Oba point, and then we'll address the giant elephant in the room. But again, second time we see him on WWE television. Kit Wilson. And Kit Wilson, I'm going to give him his fucking props now, too. He's filling his fucking role perfectly. I thought his promo was great, especially for what it set up. It was good. If he is the future, he is perfect mid-carder for me right now. I think he's great where he was and was the perfect guy to get fucking beat the shit out of by Oba. Because as soon as you heard Oba come out, he was the most over thing on the show. More over than the world champion, more over than the bloodline, more over than, or not the bloodline, the MFTs. I'm sorry, I'm still calling them the bloodline, but more over than Jacob, more over than Cody, more over than Randy. Like, Oba was over like God, and that is how you're supposed to get this man strongly over. They're doing him right. They need to keep doing. They can't fuck this up. It's literally been perfect. So go ahead in your thoughts, and then we'll hear from Wrestling Jesus himself.
Well, I thought I watched some of SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was pretty decent. I mean, it had its ups and downs. I enjoyed some of the stuff. I enjoyed the women's tag title match, which I think Julia is starting to understand what it means to get over. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna take time with her, but I do think she'll get over as the time goes on.
But hold on. Don't even go in on that match yet. I was just simply asking about the Oba thing.
Oh, okay.
Just
Okay.
Oba.
Okay. When it comes to the Oba, I'm like, again, they can't fuck this up, because look how the crowd reacted when he came out. I'm like, oh damn, and it was probably the loudest I've ever heard the crowd chant in a while. Like, they were chanting his.
Hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but here's I just want to add to it. The thing is, too, it's not even like they're keeping him out there long. They're just having him go out there, do his stuff. 1, 2, 3, choke slam, stand up power bomb, get out of there. They're not trying to show any weaknesses in his game right now, and it's perfect.
Well, his finish is called the Fall from Grace, and I think it's changed to a sit up. I think sit up, sit out. I think it's a sit up. I sit up, pop, but
Brandon, you're cutting out.
And
Brandon, hold on, Brandon, you're cutting out.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little better.
Okay, well, his move is called the Fall from Grace, which is a sit-out pop-up power bomb. But I do agree, they're just keeping him short and simple, not showing off most of his arsenal just yet until they give him a competent challenger, which I do think, don't be surprised if they put him up against someone like a Damian Priest down the road, because you did saw him in all truth looking at him backstage when he was coming out. So that's going to be a match between them. But yeah, they're doing Oba good. I've already stated if you're not going to do Brock versus Oba at WrestleMania, I say do Oba versus Dominic. Have Dominic drop the title to Oba.
Well, we got to see what Brandy's on first, but I get what you mean. Hold on. All right, let's go to my co-host. Go other Brandon, and then we'll slide it to Wrestling Jesus.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't a fan of destroying the Raiders on Monday, but yeah, this definitely was exactly what it should have been last night with Oba. I mean, they were chanting his name before his music, just the green lights. The music didn't even start yet, and they were chanting Oba just based on the lights turning green. If that's not someone being over, I don't know what is. I mean, between him and Trick, these guys are going to be money, and they're most likely going to be a WrestleMania main event against each other, if within 2 to 3 years. So
I think right now Oba has, and I know this is a weird thing to say, Oba has more potential than Braun Breaker. Like, I don't know why, and maybe it's just bias in me, but I think you can get more out of Oba for the next few years than you can a Braun Breaker. That's just me, though.
I want to see, once they really put the rocket to Oba, how they book him. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say right now, doing a 2-minute squash match, but let's put him up against some of the, guys who have been on the main roster for a good minute and give him more than 2 minutes and see how he does. So, I think Oba is beyond the point where you could really mess it up because it's basically on cruise control. But it is Triple H, so let's wait and see how that goes.
All right, Aaron, it's on you. What did you think of the Oba performance last night?
Oh, I thought it was great. I was going to watch along for it, and immediately was like, at first I thought it was going to be Royce Keys, to be honest, when Kid went out there. But, man, I thought it was great. It was Oba, and Oba's, like, fantastic, and, man, I'm excited, and I hope in the future he will be in the main event, like y'all was saying, especially for Trick Williams, too, competing for those world titles, either WWE or World Heavyweight Championship. But yeah, Oba, he's like so over right now. It's crazy. More over than Braun Breaker, I agree. I like Braun, I really do. I hope he gets, he starts elevating more and getting over a little more. I don't know if it may be the vision might be hurting him, maybe pulling him back, or because he was over a minute, and then now it seems like he's joined the vision. It's kind of,
it feels like he's lost his aura.
Yeah.
Like when Braun was by himself and when he initially got the Intercontinental run, he felt like that raw badass. Like no one can match him. But I feel like he's taken a couple big losses now. The Rumble thing. I just think he's lost some of that badass aura into where Oba basically is a walking aura farm right now. Like you look at that guy and he literally looks like he exudes greatness. He wakes up and pisses excellence, as Will Ferrell once said.
I agree. Like right now, in my opinion, Oba could go like toe to toe with Roman Reigns right now. Like they would sell a story and sell a match. They don't even have to be for a title. It could just be the ruler versus the tribal chief. Like they can both do it. Oba could hang in there with him. Like Oba Femi he's great, and I'm excited. I'm hoping soon. Yeah, he will probably later this year win the Intercontinental or United States title. Because he could answer United States title, win it, and then have United States title open challenge and like nobody defeat him. And then when he's ready to challenge for the WWE World title, just kind of like he did the NXT title, just vacate it, be like, all right, nobody can defeat me. Let me move up now. You know, something like that, since they did that NXT angle. So I think that'd be pretty cool.
I think he should. I don't know who has the record for the longest U.S. title reign, but I think he should beat it.
Talking about in history?
Yeah, I don't know who has the longest.
In
but
history
I
or
think-
just WWE?
Not only.
I think that's like old school. I don't think anybody recently has done it.
I think he should have the U.S. belt and break that title because I don't think they're gonna have him break Gunther's record for the IC title. And I actually think he should be the first person to simultaneously hold, the quote unquote, well, not first person, but first they can do a first with him being the first person in a long time simultaneously holding, a mid card belt and a world title. And then
Right
have
now, the
it one
longest
after.
reigning United States champion in WWE history is Lex Luger at 523 days.
Actually, that's the WCW NWA version. As long since 2001, it's Dean Ambrose at
What is
351.
it, Dean Ambrose?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dean Ambrose holds the longest WWE United States Championship reign at 351 days, while Lex
Yeah, I
Luger
see
holds
that
the
now.
all-time recognized record, 523 days, across NWA/WCW history.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd give.
But he can go and break the Lex Luger one, in my opinion.
I'd say the Ambrose one I think would be more beneficial because then a year
He
isn't
can break
really
both.
that long. If you think about it, if Oba holds it for a year, it wouldn't be that long. Have him win it at Mania and hold it till Mania next year.
Yeah.
And then the person who beats him at Mania next year would be kind of made, especially if it's a newer star like a Ricky Saints or a Royce Keys or, you feel me?
Royce Keys would be great. Them two in a match, especially on WrestleMania card and for the U.S. title. Build up Royce Keys all this year that he can be the one to challenge. That'd be
Challenge,
great.
have it be the inevitable conflict between the immovable object and what's the other
Irresistible force and the immovable
irresistible
object.
force. Thank you.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Were you okay with no Royce Keys on SmackDown this week?
No, he signed to Raw.
Is he?
No, he's
Yeah.
SmackDown.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure they
I've
signed
seen
him to Raw.
reports of him going to SmackDown. I don't think
Oba's
I don't know
gonna
if
actually end up.
official.
Oba's supposed to end up on Raw.
Hold on, I'm about to look it up because I swore I saw it as a story on Twitter.
But
I mean,
I see a lot of people.
Oba, I think Oba would be great on Raw, honestly.
I had no problem with them not having Royce on because you had Oba. And it's like they're so similar in build
Mm-hmm.
that it's like you're going to have two guys who basically look the same kind of debut on SmackDown. So I was actually okay with them holding him off for a week. I mean, look what happened when originally it was supposed to be Penta was supposed to debut on the Netflix premiere, and they held him off a week, and he was doing pretty well for himself. So
Okay, no, I read the report wrong. He was backstage at Raw.
Yeah.
That's what it was. My bad.
So I was okay. Like I was saying, I was okay with them not having him on because you're basically, size wise, they basically you had Oba there, and you're basically going to do the same thing with Royce. It just looked like it would be like a carbon copy type debut. So I was actually okay with them holding him off until next week.
Listen, we all know how I feel about this. I already think he's doomed to fail. That's why they're holding him back, because they already know they fucked it up.
Oh, you know that. Okay, Leo, you know that's not true, Leo. What are you going to tell me?
Okay.
What are you going to tell me next? That Otis is more over than Oba?
Otis is more over than Rey Mysterio. Let me stop.
Calm down now.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
Fun at Leo.
You're going to get me in
No.
trouble.
No, I'm listen. I just have no faith. The roster is too crowded, and it got he's not gonna stand out.
No,
It's
Aaron,
gonna be really hard for him to stand out.
let's ask Aaron his opinion on it.
I think I heard it in the group chat. Because I told him the same thing. I'm like, I don't think it's going to work. And I explained it to him. He's like, you might be kind of right.
Which part?
Where I think he's kind of doomed to fail because there's too many guys. The main roster right now is too overflooded. You feel me? Guys like Rusev and Aleister Black are lost in the shuffle. And I feel like that's going to be where Royce Keys is, to where in NXT, he would have filled out better. There was a way better way to use him, pair him up with Ricky and have him help Ricky win the world title instead of giving it to Joe Hendry for no reason when you got no heels for him to challenge.
Oh, you don't believe?
Oh, I love Joe Hendry, but WWE right now has a heel problem, a giant heel problem. They have no top heels or no good heels in general. They have baby faces up the ass. They have nonstop baby faces, and like the only really good heels they have is Drew and Gunther.
It feels like AEW is oversaturated with heels, and WWE is oversaturated with baby faces. Yeah.
No, AEW, their issue is all their baby faces have beef with other baby faces, and all their heels have beef with other heels. That's pretty much what it is. Ciampa and Mark Briscoe, apparently babyface versus babyface.
Yeah.
I thought they were
Ciampa's mainly a
Ciampa's
babyface because he's new. But if he gets, but who knows if he'll turn out to be a heel or babyface. Right now he's going to be a babyface, but who knows, he eventually might turn heel.
I thought he was a heel when he came in. He was the psycho killer.
So that's what we thought. But he went over at the fans, so he's like, nah, babyface.
Psycho killers are apparently baby faces now. Nice to add that to my repertoire. Let's move to the Drew promo though, real quick.
It's AEW. They love the psychos and everything.
The psychos and the sickos.
Yeah, it goes well. It rhymes.
But yeah. I want to talk about this Drew promo though, because I thought it was the perfect response to how CM Punk and Roman dressed him down. And it was the perfect response to build him as the champion. And a lot of people do not give Drew the credit he fucking deserves. Because in a lot of the spaces we go in, like Jet being one of them, because Jet was anti-Drew before Drew won the title. And I was sitting here, I'm telling you, Drew is that guy. Drew can make anyone interesting by just being Drew. And like, the WWE title picture right now is a lot more interesting to me than just seeing Punk and Roman go at it for the other belt. Especially depending on who's Drew's opponent. Like, it could be anyone. Right now, Randy's obviously in the chamber, but I think that's going to start something between him and Cody soon. Because I think they're going to try to get Cody away from Jacob. I don't think they want to do that match. I think they just want to tease their issue and whatever. I don't think they're going to have a multi-man match for that belt.
I honestly think Sammy will win next Friday due to Cody or Jacob costing the other, and Sammy gets the late pin after one of them hitting the finisher or something. And then eventually it might turn into Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship in a triple threat between Jacob, Drew, and Cody. That's what I'm honestly thinking.
I don't know. I think for some reason, and I don't know why, I think it's based on what happened in the Rumble. I think Cody and Randy might be the thing for Mania.
That would be, and then honestly, that would probably overshadow Roman and Punk.
It wouldn't overshadow, but it'd be the perfect thing to be an interesting match on the card without Cody being in a title or main event, and you don't have to do him and Jacob or another multi-man match for a belt at Mania. You know what I mean? I just think in terms of the triple threats and fatal four ways, WWE has definitely over-prostituted it over the past few years.
I wonder, though, if someone pitched this as a interesting idea, what if The Rock cost Roman the title and that sets up Mania 43, Rock and Roman?
That works for me, because then I don't think Punk's losing at Mania. I think Punk's going to get his one main event win and then start doing jobs every year. I think that's a lot of people are like, Roman's not going to do the job 3 years in a row. I don't know. He didn't do the job for 5 years in a row. So I think Roman taking
If Roman
some L's
lost
at
to
the
Punk, it would not hurt him at all.
It wouldn't. It would not, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt either one losing to either, honestly. But I just think putting the belt on Roman is too old reliable. It would be more like a Vince booking decision instead of a Triple H one. And I think Triple H is going to want to do everything to avoid that type of backlash, especially knowing, I think this year, his job being in the hot seat. Now that AEW is starting to increase their ratings again, and if they do it for like a full month consistently, yeah, Triple H's job is going to be in the hot seat because they're going to start catching up to SmackDown. And you don't want that. If you're Triple H, you want them to only be competition for NXT for as long as possible.
Wait, let me ask you something. But do you really think TKO is really caring that much? And I'm not talking about WWE, but TKO. Do you really think they're caring that much about what AEW is doing, or are they more concerned with as long as they're making their money, then, they're happy with Triple H?
Yes, because AEW is costing TKO to spend more money on talent. TKO don't want to pay them motherfuckers more money. They want to cash in as much as possible. You got to, that's the thing that AEW's existence is a threat to TKO, because they're going to have to start paying their guys top talent money no matter what, if they want them. If they want the best of the best. If they want to keep a Sami Zayn, guess what? You getting paid 7 figures. You want to keep a Kevin Owens, guess what? You getting paid 7 figures. Guess how many in WWE? I know they're paying out more 7-figure salaries than they have ever before, in order to keep guys from going to the other company, because Tony will pay them the money, and they will add somewhat name value to Tony. They didn't want a KO leaving. They didn't want a Sami Zayn leaving. They definitely did not want Drew leaving.
Yeah, but if they don't use them, then KO and Sami don't have to sign those contracts. And how WWE is kind of heavily featured in Saudi, I don't think Sami will leave WWE, honestly, in my opinion.
No, I'm just saying in terms of, Triple H wanted to Swerve Strickland back. But guess what? Tony Khan gave Swerve so much money, offered Swerve so much money, he knew WWE wouldn't pay that money to Swerve. Because WWE bases their whole pitch is, we'll give you guys these upside guarantees where you can earn against your minimum with merch, with side shit, with other gigs, and blah, blah, blah. We're going to give you the exposure. We're going to give you the chance to make more money, but you still make it guaranteed. You know what I mean? But hold on real quick. Hold on, Brandon, real quick, because Hub had his hand up first, and then I'm going to go to you. Go ahead, Hub.
So to answer Heel's thing here, how can you say that TKO is not concerned with AEW when they made it a point last year to book events the same day as AEW numerous times? They set up NXT to fail on purpose so they can try and steal viewers away from All In Texas. TKO cares about AEW to a degree. Because at the end of the day, there's still competition. Maybe a giant gap between them all. Does not ignore that. But there's still competition.
My point being is that I don't think that if AEW gets 700K for Dynamite a week, that it's going to put Triple H on the hot seat, that his job's going to be at stake, as long as TKO is still making a profit. That's my point.
In terms of gaining interest, in terms of gaining interest, if they're gaining more interest and, say, for example, start selling out more pay-per-view shows, yes, they're going to have Triple H in the hot seat, because that's taking money away from them. They're not going to be able to make the same money they're already pricing out their fan base as it is. It's not like they can keep making up for the loss in attendance by hiking up the prices.
Well, that's not a Triple H thing there. That is a TKO thing, the ticket price and stuff. But where Triple H, I don't think he's on the hot seat regardless. The amount of times they pimp that man out all the time. Like, I think he's pretty safe. It's his job until he doesn't want it anymore, I think. Or there's a very, like, major collapse, like Vince late in his run kind of dip in creative and people are really starting to, like, turn away from the product.
Right, that's my entire point. I don't think that, Triple H is in any dire straits with his job unless he just wants to leave.
I want to know where AEW potentially can come in and take money away from TKO is in about 2 years when the AEW TV deal is up. And we don't know what's going on with Turner and TBS. They can look at AEW, hey, they have momentum, they have similar numbers to NXT, and they're close to SmackDown, and we can get them for a hell of a lot cheaper than we could for a WWE right. That's where WWE could lose money, because they could lose a potential partner in media at the end of their rights.
Yeah, but who? Because in 2020, the end of
You
next...
got Amazon.
That's all you have. That's the only place that there is for AEW right now would be Amazon.
Paramount. It's Paramount.
Paramount's already in bed with TKO.
No, they're in bed with the UFC. In that section, they're not going to sit there and be like, oh, we're not doing AEW because UFC. They're paying UFC over $1 billion.
You also got Apple. There's Apple.
Yep, we got Apple. TKO managed to get a deal done with the NFL and got them all to agree to make lucha masks, for fuck's sakes. I'm pretty sure he has some connections outside of who WWE currently has deals with.
Well, when you're friends with most of the owners, it kind of helps pushing shit through. Like, hey, sell my lucha masks. But I get what you're saying.
Them in a while back. You don't think when they were doing the title belt thing, you don't think he could have stepped up and like, oh, I'll do it for a hell of a lot cheaper. You don't gotta pay me the X, Y, and Z for this.
I guess.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I agree with you in the point we were both trying to make, though, where WWE and mainly TKO are worried about AEW's existence. And if the AEW... If the AEW as a whole becomes more interesting and starts taking away from their bottom line, starts increasing more of their wrestling, their hold of the market share, yes, that is going to be a problem for Triple H because he's the HBIC right now. And if he's not helping keep the gap is where it is right now, that's going to be a problem. Creative does, and they'll be able to tell if it's the creative or not because people aren't buying aren't paying to see the shows or aren't watching the pay-per-views or et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, I had a burp.
I mean, you can argue so far through 2026, AEW has wiped the fucking floor with WWE creatively.
Yeah, for the most part.
Because NXT is virtually unwatchable, has been for a very long time. I'm sick of us pretending that it isn't. SmackDown's hit or miss, Raw's hit or miss, and the PLEs, for the most part, have sucked.
I love you, Hub. At least you get me. You get me. You understand me.
Right? You know it's bad right now for WWE that the most interesting product they have right now airs on Facebook on Saturday nights on in the U.S., and that is AAA. Let that sink in.
The problem, though, is, like, the WWE right now is eons ahead of everybody. Like, this isn't the WCW war, to where, they're, like, neck and neck. Neither company is, like, doing great. And then, like, WCW can come in and catch them. Like, it's not like that now. Like, WWE is, like, light years ahead of everyone. So there's nobody that's really going to come kick them in the dick the way WCW did.
Which we don't. Okay, no, we don't need competition just be the second successful wrestling promotion in North America. You could still be the number 2 company while being successful. It has happened.
Right, but in order for WWE to completely change the way they do business, then you're gonna need somebody that's making them change the way they do business. And if you're
Exactly. Yes. 100%.
and that's not going to happen because they are so far ahead of everybody else.
And hold on, and real quick, I just want to say, I'm gonna let you go in a second. Let's do hands, just because we got 7 people in here, and I don't want everyone talking over each other. But go ahead, Hub.
NBA, their product resonated with young viewers and stuff, to a point where the MLB either had to change the way they did stuff or get left behind. MLB a few years ago introduced a pitch clock, which helped sped the game up and helped bring in more and younger viewers, to a point where now you can argue they have now resurpassed the NBA. They changed their way of business because of another entity that changed their philosophy in how they've done stuff, and they were able to get better. AEW can help change WWE to get better. Granted, it didn't work when Vince was in charge because Vince didn't give a fuck. But with them, this is really the first time in the Triple H era where the AEW product has been consistently good. Because when Triple H first really took over, it was the beginning of the end, the downhill spiral. You had Brawl out, and then they didn't really recover from that. They were fighting backstage every other week. Then you had Brawl in, and then the CM Punk video drop, which took away most of their audience, did not return after that. And now you're starting to see AEW for the first time, really in a long time, where the entire show, people walk away
They're
from
actually
saying,
restoring the feeling.
it's good.
Yes.
Unlike, as I'll argue, last year, the All In build, I thought was the best build up to a major event all last year, the Hangman Page Moxley build. And that what the one particular build is not going to bring everyone back. You need a legit show for where everything's clicking, and that has been Dynamite for the last few weeks. Yes, some shit does not make sense, like John Moxley's, is he a face or is he a heel? What's up with the Death Riders? Okay, whatever. Women's division's kind of right now. But there's stuff that makes sense, and there's multiple things that are driving people back in, which is something you haven't been able to say about AEW for at least the last 3 years.
I said that earlier when we were talking about AEW, that AEW over the past 3 or 4 weeks have been doing a really good job of actually establishing a main event scene of guys you actually want to see wrestle, and shit is just more interesting. Again, seeing Swerve and Kenny wrestle fucking Andrade, them pushing Andrade to be some sort of main eventer, using Brody King somewhat the way they should be using big guys in general. Brody King isn't the best example to be, start pushing big guys and stuff, but you know what? At least Tony's doing it. And I agree with you to that point. AEW so far this year has been better creatively than WWE, because Triple H has just been going through the motions. And I want to add to the point of, this is the most vulnerable WWE has been under the Triple H regime in terms of having a chance to capture new fans and regenerate interest and do different things. And I agree with you. They have had some good shit, and they've had some shit that just don't make sense. I bitched about MJF being squashed and blah, blah, blah. But I think this is the year for Triple H to, either make the gap further or give Tony a chance to make this a fucking race again. And if Tony makes this a race again this year, there's no if AEW's getting a TV deal. They're going to get renewed. No ifs, ands, or buts. If they recapture interest, they're going to get a renewal, no matter who owns the fucking company. So, and if they get another renewal, that fucks up their bottom line even more. And the wrestling landscape is better when, and to tag on to Brandon Ace's point he said earlier, I understand you want AEW to just exist as an alternative, but wrestling as a whole is better when there's competition on WWE, or specifically whoever the industry leader is at the time. Like, it's always been WWE in modern history. But whenever there's someone chipping on their ass, wrestling as a whole is better. No matter if it's TNA, WCW, or AEW. Wrestling as a whole is better when there is competition, not just variety. Because wrestling has always had variety, but it has always had stringent competition. But CoPro, the floor is yours.
One sec before CoPro goes, I do
go ahead.
disagree with one thing you said. I think depending who takes over the TBS TNT entity of Warner Brothers will depend whether they are fans of wrestling and think that wrestling will be viable. Because you could still be looking at someone buying it and it ends up being an AOL situation where they just don't want wrestling on the network. So, you know, no matter how good AEW does, it just might be someone seeing that, like, I'm not a fan of this shit and I don't want it on my networks. So it's not.
So I'm just going to disagree with your disagreement, because all these networks are so thirsty for content, and AEW still nowadays, with Tony footing the bill on damn near everything, is cheap content. So it doesn't matter if it matters a little bit if their ratings go up, because at least they can justify them getting interest and them still justifying the money they're getting. But at the same time, no matter who owns it, as long as AEW is cheap content, they will pay, and it's cheap, interesting content, they will pay out for it.
No, my whole take on it, though, is, you know, while AEW can, like, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say, because they can be that solid number two, but again, the WWE is so far ahead. Like, AEW is not going to come into, you know, a stadium and Rocket Stadium in the U.S. selling 50,000 tickets. They're not gonna do a 1.5, 1.6 rating. They're not gonna sell these massive venues. Like, they can be the solid number two, but they're not WCW. They can't get there, because it would be like it would be like saying that the UFL is gonna catch the NFL. And that's not going to happen.
So hold on. See, that's where I disagree, because SmackDown is on such a downward spiral right now in terms of interest and rate. And maybe not in terms of selling out arenas like WWE has. You're right, because because WWE still has the bigger brand than AEW. But if AEW finds a way to recapture interest and actually, quote unquote, restore the feeling and get people back into the buildings and people wanting to see what they put on the first step is getting people wanting to see what they want on television, and then once they see what they want on television, they're going to want to go see that shit in person, because they're going to want to see their favorites in person. That's the issue with AEW. Over the past few years, Tony only has been pushing his favorite wrestlers instead of the fans' favorites. Now he's actually kind of listening to the fans and listening to the feedback and listening to the people who's lost interest in AEW, and is trying to put some interesting new shit on. Again, MJF is champion, and now for once he has some fucking challengers possibly to go against. The Andrades of the world, the Brody Kings, the Kennys, the Hangmans, Swerves, eventually Ospreay. You still got Kyle Fletcher if you turn him babyface eventually, because you can't keep him as a heel forever.
And well, no, DJ, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, if he can keep this train going, he can be the solid number two and the great alternative. He can. He can be in that spot that TNA was in 2011, 2012, whatever. He can be bigger than that spot. But even Matt Hardy said this when Vince was still in office and AEW was, like, doing great. Even Matt Hardy said that they are so far ahead that you're not going to catch them.
I think in terms of interest, I think you can make the conversation, as long as if they can surpass this NXT bullshit. Like, stop focusing on getting NXT numbers and beating out NXT. Let's try to get shit back up to 700,000 viewers first, because y'all haven't gotten that high since last year. Or, you know what I mean? Get back to the pre-Punk video numbers. Like, if they can do it, if AEW takes the baby steps first this year, I'm not saying it's going to be a short term. By the end of this year, AEW is going to be getting SmackDown numbers. I'm saying if AEW finds a way for once to not end the year lower in interest than they started, that it's going to be an entire different story, because WWE has been going down since last year in terms of interest, in terms of television ratings. The only thing that has not gone down for them is merch, because they are a merchandising juggernaut. They know how to push their merch, they know how to push that shit upon people, and they know how to get their fans to buy their shit. So that's the advantage right now, though, that WWE has over AEW. Nobody, and AEW fans won't admit this, but nobody who's an AEW fan is willing to be a fan enough to buy all into their shit. Like, they have diehards of the diehards, but the fucking 450,000 to 600,000 sickles that they have, there's probably 100,000 who's out there buying all the merchandise, buying all the AEW side products, who's paying for the fucking stupid AEW video game that wasn't really that good.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they can be a solid alternative. They can. But, like, as far as, like, the king, the top dog, they're not going to.
Brandon, can you see who else had their hand up? Because my shit just ain't working now. It says no one does. Herm, did you? Hold on, let's go to Herm because he's been quiet. Herm, did you want to say something?
Yeah, Lloyd's right. I mean, I'll just put it this way. Yeah, they've had some good, AEW's had some good weeks, but let's not put the cart before the horse here, everybody, because everybody's like, oh, AEW won this week. We know how this shit's been going. We know how this shit's been going for the past, almost 3 years now? They're going to have their up weeks. They're going to have their down weeks. I mean, that's how it's been. And, everybody, who was it earlier that said nobody watches NXT? I'm more interested in the NXT product than I am in any AEW or even main roster product. Because at least with NXT, the talent roster's age on average is about maybe 24, 25, whereas, these main roster shows, the average age is about 72. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it.
No, I'm just all I'm saying is in terms of long-term and possibly Triple H's job in the future, because we know The Rock and others are gunning for it. Let's not sit here and act like there aren't behind-the-scene motherfuckers politicking for his job. Everything ain't sunshine, waterfalls, rainbows, and shit in WWE land. That shit is a corporate, you feel me? It's a corporate entity at the end of the day, and all corporate entities have fucking power struggles. So, like, to sit here and not think his job is in the hot seat or people aren't trying to put him in the hot seat, look at what Dwayne's done to him the past 2 years in terms of their WrestleMania plans and him trying to sabotage them. And like,
I think he's going to be out of there eventually anyhow, because I don't think he's going to stay with the company. He's looking more into the politics.
Yeah, and nobody's saying that like his creative is like going to keep America. This probably is a major break here for him. But it's one of them things where it's like, again, it was the same way under Vince. No matter how bad his creative is, the WWE brand itself right now is still going to get the major TV deals. They're still going to get the merchandise sales. They're still going to get these arenas, all this money. They're still going to be the king of the industry.
I think, but that's what I'm saying. No, I disagree, because again, WWE got into the bad place it was because Vince got extremely complacent. And as of right now, Triple H, TKO, and or at least let's say creatively, Triple H right now has gotten extremely complacent and thinks it has that exact mindset that you're saying. There's no possible way anyone's going to ever pass us because we're the WWE. We're the biggest game in town. Even on our worst days, we're better than most. And I think, again, if he continues to have that mindset, AEW will catch up in terms of interest if they do the right thing. But I also agree what Herm said, and I said this initially as well. Them just having 2 good weeks don't mean nothing. Let's see if they can build the 600K ratings consistently for a month, then yes, then now I'm seeing it as a fucking problem because AEW's gathering interest and they're doing something right for once. And we all know who I am. I'm the one who rarely ever gives Tony Khan his props or says he does anything right. But whoever's been helping to book this main event scene for the past month has been fucking preaching the gospel to them because they're doing something right. They're doing something different. We don't see the Bucks we rarely see the Bucks or Mercedes, which is great. And all we need to do is get pockets back off fucking television, and I think AEW will be fucking dandy and great again. But that's neither here or there. I just also, I think WWE needs to figure out something different instead of just, because I think a lot of the things WWE's been doing over the past few months have been just like teasing shit and not following through with it. Like, they'll tease Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker, but then next year, the motherfuckers ain't nowhere near each other. Or they tease, what else they tease? Roman and Drew finishing the Bloodline thing, never finished that shit. They've been teasing Randy turning on Cody for 7 months now. I want this shit to happen already. But Hub, I saw your hand was up. You wanted to respond to something.
Yeah, I was the one that said NXT is ass right now. I didn't say no one's watching NXT. I just said let's stop pretending that NXT has been decent for the last year, because it really hasn't. They took last summer and pretty much just threw it away. The only real intriguing thing with NXT right now has been Ethan Page. And, like, I get it. Graded on a curve because they're all developmental. So it being a bad show isn't really like say Raw or SmackDown like that.
Are we?
But
Hold on, Brandon, hold on.
Like, NXT has not been that good, and for people saying Sean's like Booker of the Year stuff last year, and like it really has not been that good. And then Ava, thank God she's no longer the GM because she was terrible in that role.
All right, go ahead, Brandon.
I mean, while I do agree that NXT hasn't been good, but there are some things. Like, yes, Ethan Page is doing well, but are we forgetting how the women's division has been stepping up their game down there? I'm like, they got women down there that are cooking. Like, you got.
I don't. So hold on, I gotta interrupt you there because a lot of those women who've been cooking on NXT have been actually on the main roster for like the past 2 months, showing out on there. They haven't.
I'm talking about the Kayla Gray, Kendall Graves, the what's her name? Lacey.
Speaking of women, all right, hold on. After you go on your point, I gotta go back and bring something back up on SmackDown. Thank you for reminding me.
And who's the girl who's part of Fatal Injury? Yeah, she's cooking. Like, they got some women down there that are cooking. Like,
I don't. They have to tell. It's just creative-wise and logic-wise, it's not good and it doesn't make sense. Like, for example, you had Ava out there, a few weeks ago. Ricky Saints started a brawl after when they announced the ladder match. Everyone had to go through a qualifying match except for Ricky Saints. There was no logical explanation behind that. He wasn't number one contender. They have before gone away and not done championship rematches. And then they had no explanation for Ricky Saints being shoved in that ladder match when everyone else had to qualify. So there's a lot of gap in their creative. It either doesn't make sense or it's not good. They just finally got around to the Tony D'Angelo stuff that was like 3 months ago.
But they've done that before. They've had a former champion not have to qualify to get into like one of these championship scramble type matches before. It's not like it's breaking story that's never been done before.
It's just lazy booking, though.
They never
I mean,
explained it.
Mike take one too. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I was saying they did explain because she said, Ricky, your older rematch. Oba's gone, so now you're in the ladder match. They did explain it. He was older rematch. So
that's a lot gap in logic because they have gone away from champions getting rematch. You know, Trick Williams never got a one-on-one or a rematch in general for the NXT championship as long as Oba was champion. The closest he got to that title was the triple threat match at Stand and Deliver. It wasn't technically a rematch because he had to earn his way to get the match. He wasn't given
I mean, again, they pick and choose, but still, she gave a reason. You say she didn't give a reason. She gave a reason. Now it's, when they picked, she gave a reason. So there you go.
Yeah, and the logic in it doesn't make sense. That's all I'm saying.
So you just want to come back and say, hey, I'm the champion now. Fuck the ladder match. I'm the champion. Oba's gone. You're making the titles. Now I'm the champion. And then you be bitching about that.
I don't think they would have done that, though. That would have been terrible. You'd be bitching about that, too.
All right, speaking of things I got to bitch about real quick, hold on. I forgot something on SmackDown. Let's talk about that. I got to talk about the women's tag match because I'm going to say one thing. Kiana James, she looks great. She was the star of the match for me, okay? I don't know what they need to push her more, push less of Julia, and break up Rhea and Io as soon as possible. Turn Rhea heel. We need heel Rhea. That's what I realized after this match. I'm tired of babyface Rhea.
Well, you might get your wish because, well, Last Legend and your favorite wrestler Nia Jax are getting a title match. So,
yeah, honestly, let's put the belts on them. I still think it's a bad pairing because Nia can't wrestle and Lash is green as shit. But as far as, you know, what's up?
DJ, I'm not sure you want to do that because it looks like the Bellas are going to be the ones challenging for the titles at Mania. Do you really want to sit there and watch the Bellas versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax?
I wouldn't be surprised
Honestly, yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 4-way, by the way, for the tag titles.
I want heel Rhea. I'm tired. I don't know. I don't think babyface Rhea does it for me anymore. I think that's the issue with Rhea Ripley right now. I think she's been a babyface for too long, and I think she just needs to go back to being a heel. I think it fits her presentation best. But it could be.
She was a heel. She was the real heel during the whole Judgment Day breakup, but that's for a different discussion.
The problem with that, though, DJ, is that then you get into the boat too of then who's your baby face, because Rhea is massively over.
Yep. I mean, you could have Stephanie. They're gonna break up the Judgment Day soon, so Liv could possibly be that top babyface eventually. You could just switch them both.
They were going to get Liv and Rhea for the 1,000th time, and who wants to see that?
Well, because Rhea's massively over.
No, I'm not debating that she's not over. I'm not saying she's not an over babyface. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm tired of her as a presentation as a babyface, especially in ring. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Honestly, I think the majority of fans want her to be away from the women's title picture. Now that she's away from the women's title picture, we want her back. No, I don't want her near the. I think the tag division or the mid card division is a perfect place for Rhea right now because she does not need to be in the world title picture, and you can give her more accolades, make her a Grand Slam champion or such and whatever. You feel me? I'm okay with that. I'm just saying her baby face presentation to me, I think, has run its course or is starting to run its course. And like I said, I'm stating this purely as a personal opinion, not as an objective fact. So everyone hold your ponies and hold your horses before anyone takes it as DJ saying Rhea's not a good babyface. No, I'm just saying her presentation as a babyface to me is kind of tiring.
So you're right. She's not a good babyface.
Yeah, no,
She's
but
not.
the point I wanted to make was Kiana James, future star. That's who they need to start fucking pushing in that division. She can make a splash. I wouldn't be mad if they did a random her and Jade match out of fucking nowhere. Like hell,
They do like a triple threat for the U.S. title and Kiana accidentally pinned Julia.
something I'd be with that. Again, Kiana James, the past since the Rumble, has caught my eye. She has the look, she has the in-ring presence, she can talk. Like, why not push her? Like, do something with her. Because they don't have nothing else on SmackDown, really, as far as the women. So, like, yeah, those are my few light notes.
I got one from Raw.
You got something from Raw?
They changed Stephanie's theme, and it got me thinking, and the same goes with Julia. Are these two over? Because Stephanie's not, like, unless she does the fucking, what the hell's the ass move called?
Devil's Kiss.
Yeah.
And I had to hear this
She's
shit
not
about
getting She's not getting reactions like that. And most people can argue she's been a terrible champion so far. We can blame injury all we want, but for the most part, she's been healthy for her whole reign. And more people been interested in whatever Becky's doing with the IC title. Now with Liv and Raquel, Roxanne, how that's going to break up the Judgment Day. It feels like Stephanie's really more like a background character on Monday Night Raw, and I think the fans kind of feel the same.
Well, it's because she's rarely they've cooled her off a lot. It's not like they've made her like a fight. What really would have benefited Stephanie is that they made her a fighting champion. If she was wrestling every other week, if she was constantly defending that belt. I think she's only had 2 defenses, if I'm not mistaken. So, like,
I want to say it's like 4 or 5 because she faced Nikki Bella at Survivor Series.
The only one I can remember is Survivor Series and Raquel. Who else? Give me the other ones.
Didn't they have a triple threat match between Raquel, Stephanie, and Bella?
Was that for the belt?
I'm pretty sure that was for the belt.
Okay, that's 3.
I think she had another one right before the Nikki Bella feud, but I'm drawing a blank on who it is.
I only remember the 2. I only remember the Nikki Bella one and Raquel. And if they did a 3-way with those 3, then okay, cool. But
AEW fans' favorites, like cage match, figure this out.
And how long she's had the belt for? Like what? 4 months?
WrestlePalooza. So in September.
So September. So about 4, October, November, December, January. 5 months.
And she's gonna lose it to Liv, so yeah.
So like that's what I feel like it's been kind of the downfall of Stephanie, because they built her up as this wrestler's wrestler and she's a fighting champion, but then hasn't wrestled any many matches and hasn't really been what she's been presented as, which got her over. You know what I mean? Like her wrestling, her in-ring capabilities is what got her over. Her look got her over. When you stop seeing her all the time, you're gonna, lose some over.
I have our answer. She's defended the title 5 times. Now guess how many of those times involved Raquel Rodriguez?
3.
4.
Okay.
Out of her 5, 4 of them involved Raquel Rodriguez. 1 was Nikki Bella, which was War Games. Her first actual defense didn't come until November, which was
2 months after she won it.
Yep, against Raquel Rodriguez, the night Cena won the IC title, so that was buried underneath that. Survivor Series against Nikki Bella. December against Raquel, which ended in a no contest. The triple threat match on the final Raw of last year, and then this past Monday.
Well, that falls under the Triple H booking of the champions. I mean, Jade is going to have her first title defense in almost 100 days next week. You know, we've seen people who's been champion not be featured for weeks and months at a time. I mean, Io was champion last year at this time, and she didn't have a match for like 2 months. You know, so that falls under the way Triple H books his champions, and I don't know if it's to protect them. I don't know what his logic behind it is, but you know, he fails to get his champions over.
He books things for the pop. That's
and another thing too. We talked about this the other day in the States. I do believe Jet. I think Herman was in there too. We talked about this the other day that like people may say that this is defending Triple H, but it's not because the booking has been trash. But like, there's a lot of hands in that pot. Triple H has got bosses he has to answer to, and then the bosses have the TV networks to answer to. So we don't know whose hands are in what.
Wait, do you really think the networks or TKO were like, you can't put your champions on TV every week to defend the titles? They don't care. They don't care what's being.
Netflix is paying $5 billion for Raw. You don't think they have a say in what's going on?
No, I don't think they have a say in the actual creative.
They always have. Every network has.
I side with Heel on this one. I don't think they do. I think they have a say on like, hey, you can't do like, I don't know, a Brian Pillman with the gun kind of. Why do you think
they moved Roman over to Raw?
Right. Asking for stars to be on the show versus how you're booking the stars are two different things. And they're not. And I guarantee you, whoever's in the people of Netflix aren't saying, you know what, it's too much Stephanie on the show. We have to dial her back. It's too much Braun Breaker on the show. We have to dial it back. I don't think they have a.
We're not saying that. They're probably saying, hey, we want more viewership, so keep putting Roman on TV. Give Roman more TV time. Give Cody more TV time.
Right, but again, he also has bosses. He has Nick Khan. He has Ari Emanuel. He has Mark Shapiro. He has The Rock. He has all these people that also have their hand in the pot.
I don't think Mark Shapiro and Emanuel are involved in creative like that, to tell you the truth.
We can't even hear you, Brendan.
Shapiro and Ari are not even involved in
Hold on. Let's chill with the interruptions real quick. All right, let's do these hands. We all talking over each other.
Ari and Mark Shapiro are not getting involved in WWE creative. They are not talking to Triple H without going through Nick Khan. Nick Khan is the conduit. He's the president of WWE. So, you know, unless there's some major disaster happening that they need to come down from the ivory tower, they're not getting involved. I don't think the people at Netflix, beyond saying that we need something to boost, you know, viewership, are, you know, getting involved in whether, you know, the champions are being booked correctly to be strong. You know,
I do think to a certain extent, Jet and CoPro are right that Netflix do have certain restrictions and guidelines that they want WWE to follow while putting their show on. Like having certain people on or not doing specific kind of angles and shit like that. I do agree to that point because networks have always had that kind of input of what goes on their station or what they want on that station. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same way WCW wanted Hogan and Turner wanted Hogan and why Hogan was all over that fucking show ever since he signed. Like, because that's what the network wanted.
I'm going to bring this point up too. Eric Bischoff, when he was asked on his podcast with Conor A. Thompson why he left the WWE when he was the head of the SmackDown in 2019, he said, because when I came in, I was told I would have one boss, and that boss was Vince McMahon. He said, and then I had Fox in my ear telling me what they wanted done. I had Vince over here telling me what he wanted done. He's like, and I had to deal with all these different people. And I said, I'm not doing that anymore. He said, I did it in WCW. I'm not doing it again. The network was involved in what they wanted done.
Go ahead, Jet.
But no, to say again, if you're paying, it's like in real life, right? If you're paying for a service, let's just say you're paying for your grass to get cut. You're gonna want your grass to get cut a certain way. Just like with Netflix, they're paying for Raw. They're gonna want Raw to be booked a certain way. And Triple H has had a majority to say yes, but they're gonna say, hey, we want Roman on this week, so give Roman the majority of TV time. Give Punk majority of TV time. Punk, Roman, Judgment Day, they're all going to take an hour, hour and a half, hour, 15 minutes of TV time. So the women in the tag teams have limited amount of time to work with.
See, that's where I disagree with you. I don't think they're nitpicking down to that point. That's purely WWE creative.
I understand they're saying if they want Punk and Roman, all you people on TV, they're going to take a certain amount of time off TV for the women.
Then why has Roman not been on TV for 3 months?
Hold on, real quick though. No, because I just want to make this right because he's onto something, but he's going a little too far left. Like the right when if the network wants a certain star on and they want them, featured prominently, they are going to feature prominently in those plans. But the way the show is formatted and and how they present each talent, like I said, Roman Reigns needs to be on the show. But for all Netflix gives a fuck about, it could be for a 5-minute promo and he's out. You know what I mean? Like that's literally all WWE would have to do to require what Netflix would want it. So yes, to that extent they would have the input. But how Triple H could decide to use the talent however he wants, as long as he puts them on said show. You get what I mean, Jet?
Yeah, and to fucking off topic. Okay, so if we ever watched the movie Friday Night Lights, Carter High School did not play permanent ambassador in the state championship. They played him in the state semifinal. So this movie is a fucking lie. Anyway, but yeah, I think the format of the show ought to be on Triple H. But again, if you're going to have Roman on the show, you're not going to have him for a 5-minute promo. He's going to take at least 15 minutes. If you're going to have Punk on the show, he's going to do 15 minutes of TV time.
You're embodying again, bro. I don't know where your connection at. You under the water in Atlantis.
But that's not entirely accurate what he's saying, because we've seen Roman show up at the very, very end of Raw, do a run-in, throw a couple Superman punches, do a spear, and he's literally on TV for 3 minutes. So to say that, he's required to have a 15-minute promo if he's on the show, it's been proven to be false.
No, and that's why I agree with you, Brandon. That's the point I'm trying to make. They can dictate who's on the show and who they want presented on the show as the network.
So, going by that logic, you're telling Eric Bischoff he had no idea what he was talking about.
It doesn't matter what Bischoff, but that's also 2019. We're in 2026.
Okay, but it's still the same principle. The networks can have what they want on there.
Yeah, the stars, but I don't...
So you're telling Eric, you who have never set foot on an executive role in a major wrestling promotion, or telling a man that has been a very big player of success in this business that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
And how many times on Eric Bischoff's show has he said, when he was questioned by Conrad about creative in WCW, would he always say, well, I wasn't involved in the creative part, that was Kevin Sullivan.
Okay, but again,
you know what I mean?
To my question, you were telling a man you were telling an executive he doesn't know what he's talking about when he was there and you weren't.
Let me ask you something. You really think everything that comes out of Eric Bischoff's mouth is the truth?
No.
Hold on. Let me come in here. I'm playing in the middle ground. I'm not saying what Bischoff's saying was bullshit, but I think he's exaggerating. He might have exaggerated the amount of how much pressure Fox possibly was putting on him, Because again, when it comes to the television networks, they do not. My mom called me. I had to send her the voicemail real quick just so I can make this point. I'm gonna call her right back after this. But like, in terms of how much input they have in the show, they don't format the show. That is purely up to the creative of WWE, or in WCW's case, WCW, Kevin Sullivan. They format the show. In terms of who Turner or whatever network executive wants on that show in terms of star power, like if they have access to John Cena, okay, you're definitely putting John Cena on the show, or you're putting Roman Reigns on this show, you're putting, you feel me? They have input on the stars that they can use. But in terms of the formatting of the show and how it goes, the network can only set the guidelines and restrictions where they are and who they requesting, because that's what they're paying for in terms of the product. That's why you're getting the money. That's why Turner invested into WCW so much, because they had a Hulk Hogan they knew they could rely on week to week.
But my question was still never answered. So, a guy that's been successful in the business doesn't know what he's talking about, but you who have never been in the business does.
I'm saying in terms of what I know.
It's a
I'm
yes or
saying
no
what
question.
I know. I don't say I
It's
know
a
more
yes
than
or
them,
no
but I'm not
question.
saying I know significantly less. I'm not diminishing what I know just because some schlub is telling you one thing and everyone has difference of opinions. One person's opinion doesn't mean he knows everything about said subject. That's just his opinion. Ergo, why I can have mine.
There.
I don't know why you're getting so up and at him just because we're just having a difference of opinion. We're not taking Eric Bischoff. You're getting hold on, Justin. You're the only one getting loud. I'm trying to talk to you, casual.
Well, because I'm trying to make this make sense. So are you going to tell Babe Ruth how to hit a baseball?
Oh my gosh. Here we go. Brandon, do you got this? I'm trying to argue logic and not argue logic. I'm trying to make sense of this, but he's just yelling.
You're not trying to argue logic. You are telling a man that has been there where you haven't.
I'm not.
Wait, time out. Everyone,
Bischoff until you came up here screaming. All I made the point was, and this is a known fact for any show, for anything in television, no matter damn what Eric Bischoff says or not, television networks only have a certain amount of input. They do not control the entire creative process of a show. If that is the point, there's no point of having television writers whatsoever to make up the content that fills up in that show. The networks can have input on who goes into the show. If they want a certain star into the show, say for example, if we're doing The Walking Dead, and this week they want to feature fucking, I don't know, Taylor Swift out of nowhere because Taylor Swift got some time on their hands and they're paying for Taylor Swift money. So they're going to Walking Dead is going to find a way to make Taylor Swift a prominent character in that show. Yes, but it is up to the company to format how they put her in that show. For all they know, Taylor Swift only gets a 5-minute cameo as a featured player, but she is still on that show.
It's not like the Triple H has to run the scripts up to Netflix for their approval before the show is put on. I very, very much doubt that Bischoff had to give Fox executives a rundown of the script. Fox probably was like, we want Brock on the show, we want this one on the show, we want that one on the show, but they weren't sending executives to go over the scripts and be in the writer's room. That's the point. Hub, you got your hand up?
Yeah, by that logic, we should be listening to Vince Russo all the time now, because he had success in the business at one point. Eric Bischoff is, who's echoing?
What happened?
Whatever. Someone's echoing.
DJ.
By that logic, like, we should all listen to Vince Russo. Eric Bischoff is also a known liar in this business. No one's saying he wasn't successful or not, but Eric Bischoff lacks accountability for a lot of the shit that went wrong in WCW. A lot of the shit creatively that went wrong in 2019 with WWE when he was doing Raw. So yeah, it's easy to sit there and be like, "Oh, it's the network's fault." that he needed to have, what'd you say, you need to have Roman on Raw? Roman wasn't even on Raw at that time. Roman was on SmackDown.
No, I said that I use this as an example as to the type of pull the networks have by them putting Roman on Raw on Netflix. And Eric Bischoff said that whenever he would present a show, he said that he had Vince telling him to go this route, Fox telling him to go this route. And I'm being told by people that weren't in the office, that weren't in creative, that weren't in anywhere in the business, that he was wrong.
No one said
See,
it was wrong.
No offense.
Hold on, time out. Did those words ever come out of either of our mouths, or did I just strictly say what type of input that networks?
When I asked you yes or no,
No. I didn't ask you the question. I asked Hub. Hub, did those words come out of my mouth?
It got danced around.
Hub, did those words come out of my mouth? Yes or no?
No.
Did I say anything about that? Again, did I not vehemently make the point of what input networks have? No one said anything about Eric Bischoff. No one said anything about him or his character or anything, or what he went through, or what he says, what type of input he had to go through. Maybe that was, again, as you said, Eric Bischoff is a known bullshitter and a known passer of blame. So I'm not going to take everything he says as a gospel. If he says that's what happened to him, fuck it, that's what happened to him, and I'm not questioning his opinion. I'm telling you what I know. You can't just diminish my opinion because it don't match to some famous motherfucker you look up to. That don't make sense.
No, but I can't diminish your opinion when you've never been there.
What do you mean? I'm not. Oh my fucking God! Here we go.
Yeah, because you're telling a motherfucker that has done it and been successful at it that you know more.
No one said I knew more. I know what I know, and I have an opinion.
So you're telling me everything that Bischoff says is gospel?
Is the truth and gospel. Goddamn. Holy shit. He knows hold on, let's stop the presses. Eric Bischoff knows everything about wrestling and wrestling production and the wrestling business, and we should just listen to every fucking word he says.
But I'm telling you, he knows
and we
more
shouldn't
than
come
you
up
do
with
about
our
it.
own opinion.
Time out. Everyone,
come up with things and known facts that we know ourselves.
Okay, let me ask this.
We shouldn't have those thoughts. We should just have someone else form our fucking opinions for us.
Okay,
I got this. I'm gonna just sit down and sit the fuck up.
He knows more than you do about it.
Right. So does that, just because he knows more, that means he's telling the truth? Or is he just telling it from his perspective? Which is it? Is he telling the truth or just?
Answer my question.
Because your question can't be answered with a simple yes or no, and you wanted a simple yes or no because you want the answer that you want to hear. But
no, it was a yes or no question because you people think that because you argue with Dax on TV that your shit don't stink and that you're in the business and that you do all this shit.
And fucking people obsessed with me and Dax 6 months later.
You're the one over here screaming and crying and wilding over Eric Bischoff, bro. Bischoff wasn't even a part of the conversation.
Oh my God! Okay. Bischoff might not have been a part of the initial conversation, but I brought Bischoff in as a point to say that the networks do have the say in what goes on. And then I'm being told that they don't because you guys know better.
But again, to that point, you're saying that we don't know better, but you're also saying that anything that Bischoff says is 100% accurate and gospel.
And I'm going to ask you this like I asked DJ. Would you tell a pilot how to fly a plane?
No, but I also wouldn't expect the pilot to always lie when they crash the plane.
But would you tell
and blame the co-pilot instead of taking accountability for their own actions in multiple occasions where they were running they were flying the plane. That's what Bischoff does. Bischoff's the pilot in 2 different companies, but every time it brought up the fact that, his instruments were wrong and the plane was going down in a sharp nosedive, well, it wasn't my fault, it was the co-pilot's fault. That's the point. He has a history of skirting blame to other people. So in that aspect, you want us to just take his word on this portion of his career as gospel because he hasn't had a history of skirting responsibility onto other people for his own trips and falls and failures. That's the point.
But I'm supposed to take your word when you weren't sitting there.
No one's telling you to take my word. I'm giving
I
opinions.
was just saying our opinion. Thank you. Thank you. You get the fucking point. Thank you. Thank you. I ain't saying another goddamn word. Thank you.
I'm not saying we know better. We're giving our own opinions. But you're using Bischoff as a launching point for this hill you're dying on. Then by that right, I should listen to fucking Vince Russo every week because he knows what the fuck's going on in 2026. Hub, you had your hand up?
Yeah, this movie listened to Dixie Carter too.
Oh, man. Jet, you got your hand
She
up?
had some success.
All right, choppy, PP, robot. Can you hear me clear?
Yes.
Okay. What Copra and I are saying is, does Netflix have direct impact on the show? No. But what we're saying is, they have impact. It's like you said, they have impact on who's going to be on the show and how much time do they need. Does Roman get 15 minutes every time? No. But I use 15 minutes as an example because when he does like a promo like this Monday. How long was that promo on Monday? 15, 20 minutes? So Netflix probably said, hey, give him 15, 20 minutes. And Triple probably said, okay. If he does do the 3-minute run at the end of the show, Superman has some much fine. But when you're leading to a big program like WrestleMania, you're going to have to give Roman, who really shows up, because we all know he's not going to show up. I mean, DJ talked about this the other day. He's going to show up maybe 3 times this whole fucking build-up. So within those 3 times you have to use him, you're going to have to give him 15 minutes, at least 20. You're going to have to give Judgment Day 5, 10 minutes. You're going to have to give the women's division this much time. It's about formatting the show. And yes, Eric Bischoff, side with Copra on this point, he knows more than us. Is he a known bullshitter? Yes. But he knows that the TV networks have a lot to say. They have a lot of leeway. They want to show this kind of, do they want it weekly? No. But again, if you're leading to a program like a WrestleMania, like a Royal Rumble, like a Survivor Series, the Big Four, Survivor Series, Rumble, Mania, and SummerSlam. If you're leading those fucking 4, you're going to have to do something. Just like with Saudi. You're gonna listen to Saudi because Saudi's paying, what, $500 million, $1 billion for WrestleMania? So you're going to have some input on WrestleMania next year. So that it's not up to them.
And I never said, and I've been sitting here saying that point. I literally, that's what I've been saying. They have, but they do not have, all I've been stating is how much input that they have. It's not like they control every facet of the fucking show. Again, just like the Saudi argument, or Saudi example you just made. Saudi giving them $50 million per show. You damn right they gonna pick who they want on them shows, but how they are used is purely up to WWE.
I mean, not necessarily because if Saudi says we want Roman as champ going in, they're going to put Roman as champ going in.
No, I don't think that. First of all, I don't think they can do something that drastic. They can't just sit there and dictate who's their champion now. That's going a little too far. That's extremely drastic. No,
And
I'm saying if they want Randy Orton on a show, they're going to put Randy Orton on a show. Like, if they want the Undertaker, they're going to get the Undertaker.
If you're paying, let's say we're Saudi. We don't have Saudi money. Let's pretend we're Saudi for some odd reason. If you're paying $500 million to $1 billion or something, and they tell you, we want Roman as champ, are you not going to do that? Walking into WrestleMania? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know.
But questions in this space don't get answered.
Oh, my bad. No, I was muted. I said no, hell no, wholeheartedly no. They're not going to mess up their whole plans domestically to their main audience just to appease one small
market. They're getting paid $1 billion, $500 million to $1 billion. What do you mean?
If that's the case, they're only doing shows in Saudi. They just do only shows in Saudi Arabia.
No, they wouldn't because they get paid from other places too. But if
exactly.
But if you're getting paid like with Netflix, say Netflix wants Roman as champ, you bet your ass Roman's getting the title.
So how do we get from Netflix to Saudi Arabia?
It's using that as an example. The motherfuckers that are paying the money The motherfuckers that are paying the money have influence, and if they say this is what we want, you're gonna do your damnedest to try to give it to them.
Right. It's like I said, if you're paying for WrestleMania, and they say we want this to happen at WrestleMania, and these are the matches, goddamn right, you're gonna say, hey, we'll do that. We'll pay you to. Okay, we'll put the bell on Roman. If that's what you want.
They wanted Yokozuna in the Greatest Royal Rumble. He's dead. They couldn't get him, so they got a fucking sumo wrestler.
Herm.
Right.
Herm, you got your hand up and you haven't spoken. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, yeah, I'll give you guys a case in point of how much of an influence Saudi has on the cards and everything. Remember the Hell in a Cell match between Seth Rollins and The Fiend? Remember how fucked up the ending of that was? And you know why the ending was fucked up like that? Because Saudi came in and said, no, we want that title change here. And they threw an extra however many million, threw an extra bone at them. They're like, okay, we'll do it.
The title,
Yeah,
but the title didn't change. The title didn't change. It was a DQ in a Hell in a Cell.
It wasn't. But that's what he said. He said Saudi wanted to change at the
Brian, Brandon, can you pay fucking attention to what I said? I said at Hell in a Cell the title didn't change, but in Saudi it did because Saudi said we want the change to happen here. That's why they changed the Hell in a Cell the way they did.
Time out here. You got your facts kind of mixed up here because Hell in a Cell match, Seth Rollins was the Universal Champion. He ended up dropping the title before Saudi to The Fiend. The Fiend dropped it to Goldberg.
The Fiend won it in Saudi. The Fiend won it in Saudi.
Oh, fucking up my events. You're right. You're good.
Yeah. I'll bet money on your ass on that one because I remember when he won it because I was watching the damn thing and I about fucking went nuts.
Oh, Herman. And also, didn't he lose the title in Saudi to Goldberg?
Yes, and that was another one of those. The Saudis wanted Goldberg as champion.
So, wanted the champion. My bad, Herman.
No, because what I'm saying is, there's no way in fucking hell that WWE wanted Goldberg as champion. There ain't a fucking person alive that wanted Goldberg as a fucking Universal Champion. And everybody was pissed. And I mean, horrifically pissed that Goldberg fucking won that.
So the same people that are paying for these services don't want, again, if you want your grass cut and you tell, and this might sound racist, but fuck it, if you want a Mexican to cut your grass and you tell them, I want my grass cut this certain kind of way, then who is he to say, well, no, because I already got the before you're paying him to cut your grass. So you're going to want it cut a certain way, right? And with the Saudi, they're going to, and Netflix too, they're going to want things a certain way. So they want Roman as champion, and they want Roman to get this much time, whether it's 15 minutes or how long fucking Brendan lasts in bed, 3 minutes. They're going to want it to happen. So again, do you not think people that invest money into these things want things to happen?
I will concede the point about Saudi. If they want someone, I could see that definitely having an effect, but I don't think Netflix is getting to the point that they're going to be like, we want X wrestler as the champion, and they're going to move their entire plans just for Netflix. I don't think Netflix.
I mean, they wouldn't though because Netflix is paying them $1 billion.
Then so
not
basically,
8 billion, 5 billion.
So basically, you're saying that WWE has no say anymore. That they're all that WWE and Triple H and creative is all just on their knees for all these different people, and they don't control their creative anymore.
No, nobody's saying they don't have any say. Nobody's saying that. But what we're saying is you bet your ass if this is what they want, this is what they're going to do. So when you're blaming somebody that you don't know for sure if it was their idea or the networks or these people or the execs or whoever the fuck it is, when you have no idea because there's so many hands in the pot, you don't know whose hand did this.
So to the original point where this whole thing started, we were talking about the way that Stephanie McClure has been booked. You're saying she's been booked shitty because of Netflix, not because of Triple H.
I didn't say it. I just said I'm going to break this down to where you understand it. We don't know.
This feels like more of excuse making for WWE's bad creative right now, more than anything. I'm not saying
I'm back.
like
My bad. I was on the phone. What did I miss? What I miss?
Is true because they did push for Goldberg to win that title. But it feels like this argument right now is more of a shield to, hey, this is why WWE's creative has not been good for the last year because of Netflix and Sony and
NBC. Nobody is saying that. But we're saying you motherfuckers don't know what the fuck is going on behind the scenes, and you just want to blame something like we don't know if this is what Netflix had. We don't know if this was Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro, Nick Khan, Tony Khan, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, Jim Hurd. We don't know who the fuck this was.
Okay, so we're still on the we're too critical of WWE thing. Okay, so let me hop on this train real quick because I missed a bunch of shit because I was on the phone with my mom.
It is because again, if they want somebody, they want something done, they're gonna get it done. Are you dumb, stupid, or retarded? Which one are you?
He's ignoring the part. He's only hearing the part that he wants to hear.
We all conceded to Saudi Arabia, but you're making it seem like, okay, WWE creative is bad because because Netflix is pulling into this and Mark Shapiro is doing that.
Hold on, we don't no.
You keep saying we. You keep saying wait.
Let me tackle this.
Wait 1 second.
So we're not allowed to speculate. We're not allowed to form our own opinions. We should only listen to people who tell us their opinions.
I'm not saying
no, that's what you are saying. No, that's what you are saying, and this is why this is the first time you haven't tried to come at us, or at least specifically me, as some shit like this. When I'm trying to sit here and have a cordial conversation with you, and then you get loud and upset when I tell you the person you're basing your opinion off of ain't how I'm basing my opinion. I base my own opinion off of what I see and off of the own facts I can see and generate with my own eyes and my own opinion. I don't need no one to think for me. I'm not asking Eric Bischoff what's his opinion and what he knows about this shit. I'm going to go out and learn what I know and see with my own eyes and know the shit with my own objective facts. That doesn't mean my opinion is any more than Bischoff's, but it's definitely not any less. I don't give a shit if Eric Bischoff told you today the secrets to running your own wrestling promotion. It's still my motherfucking opinion, and it's what I'm basing off of what I see. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. We can have the conversation about it. You don't need to get butthurt about it. I'm not trying to argue with you, and I'm not trying to demean your opinion at all. What I'm saying is you can't sit here and get mad for us generating our opinions off the facts that we're seeing. And that's all I'm saying. And as far as the television shit, I watch television. I've studied ratings and shit for years. I pretty much have a good thought and sense of how some of this shit works now. I can generate my own opinion off shit. If I'm wrong about something, I'm willing to learn and adjust my opinion. But let me use an example. But let me first off your robot in. Hold on, let me just finish my point real quick. And the whole point I was making is television networks do have input. I've never said to that point. I've been agreeing with y'all. The only part I've been debating with y'all is the amount of input that they have. That yes, they can input on what stars they want on the television shows and who they want featured. Yes, that is true. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty and how the show is formatted and the way it is formatted, that is mainly up to the created. And that is the whole point I've been trying to make the entire time. And y'all, and I've been hearing, oh, y'all motherfuckers, and this, that, and the third, and we don't know shit. Like, nah, I know enough to form my own motherfucking opinion, and I don't need anybody else forming that shit for me. I'm good. You feel me? I'm not a dumb motherfucker. I think I'm pretty smart. I'm not a fucking sheep. I don't need Eric Bischoff or Jim Cornette or anybody else to tell me my opinion. I'll listen to theirs to see if they give me some useful shit. But like, I'm also looking this shit my own way and notice other shit that I'm seeing. And that's the broader point I'm trying to make.
You can have your opinion. That's fine. But whenever like your opinion is basically telling somebody that's in the business that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, that's where you look like a jackass. Because it's one of the things where, again, I don't know what you do for a living, but if somebody that has never done it came up and told you you're doing this wrong, are you going to tell them, oh, well, let's do it your way then, because you've never done it?
But that's where you're missing the point, because I never said that. Again, I'm in the point. Just because I've never booked before, again, just because I've never made chicken cordon bleu, don't mean I don't know what good chicken cordon bleu tastes like.
No, but you're gonna tell the chef that well you're making it wrong when you've never
I'm
made
gonna
it.
tell him you doing something different if it don't taste good. Yes, I'm gonna tell him you doing something wrong if it don't taste good.
And then what if he says, well, then you make it?
Fuck it, I'll go home and DIY it. The fuck? I'll learn how to make it. That's the type of person I am. I mean, if I had money to my disposal and I had millions of dollars, you damn right, I would try to run my own wrestling promotion. But I don't. Just because I don't have the luxury of doing something doesn't mean if I did have the chance to do it, I wouldn't be great at it.
Herm, go ahead.
Go ahead, Herm.
Yeah. Does every fucking argument involving wrestling or any fucking thing involving wrestling have to fucking turn around and be about food? What the fuck's wrong with you goddamn people?
I'm fat as
How
fuck,
many
that's
motherfuckers?
why, and I'm hungry.
No, I
Listen,
know.
Herm, I got the munchies right now.
Okay, you know what? That's your problem, not mine. I've been fucking smoking pot over here too. I ain't got no fucking munchies.
Okay, so would you tell Michael Jordan how to slam dunk a basketball?
Wait,
Well,
time
I'm
out.
like a
Wait.
fucking idiot.
I want to get something in here. CoPro, you're saying that you said a few minutes ago that we don't know. But yet you're saying that Eric knows everything, and so you're saying that
he knows more than you.
But you're also okay. He knows more than me, yes, but you're also talking about a guy who has a history of stretching the truth. So
It's
not
wrestling, Brandon. Everybody in wrestling stretches the fucking truth.
Okay,
We
so
really get into
we're
fucking Hulk Hogan stories.
no, we're speculating here.
The most experience you have in the business is arguing with some bald-headed fuck that loves less business on fucking TV, and you think you're somebody now.
When did I say I think I'm somebody? You're just being fucking obsessed with something from 6 months ago.
It's the way you act. You don't have to say it. Actions speak louder than words.
You're acting like you know more than everyone right now because you're saying that because Bischoff said something, that's it. But then in the same breath, you're saying that we don't know.
I'm telling you from somebody I told you, with somebody that has been there said, and you say that somebody that has been there doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, I didn't say he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I said that he has a history of stretching the truth, and he's telling us you something from his perspective.
Who doesn't stretch the truth?
It's from his perspective. It's from his perspective of what he experienced, but not everyone's perspective is what actually occurs.
Are we really? So by that logic, are we really going to sit here and take everything Cornette says as gospel too? Like, come on now. There's nobody who's a bigger Cornette mark out there than me. But I'm not taking everything Cornette says to the fucking heart or to the T. You feel me? I take his. I get where y'all coming from, where you take a certain person's opinion and their takes more genuine than others, because I am that way with Cornette with a lot of times. But he doesn't form every opinion I have. Or he doesn't justify everything that I say.
Can I give my example?
Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, that's the only point I'm making. Like, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to calm down the discussion and trying to get things less heated, because I'm really just trying to have a discussion about this that is, again, all my opinion. And to sit here and say I can't have an opinion because someone else out there knows more than me is bullshit. Then no one should have an opinion, because there's someone out there who knows more than you. But go ahead, Jet.
I want to give my example real quick. Okay, so let's say you're a head coach of a football team. You have to answer to somebody, correct? You have to answer to your GM. And that GM has to answer to an owner. Just like with WWE. Triple H's the head coach. Nick Khan's the GM. And Ari May was the owner. There's different tiers to things.
Hold on, and then we can even go further than that. because then the commissioner or the owner of the team has to answer to the commissioner of the NFL. The commissioner of the NFL has to answer to the networks as to what they want to do. Like it's a chain of command.
And are all those higher
Right,
people
right.
calling? Are all those higher people running the plays?
Are they making the playbook? I was just about to say that. Are they making the playbooks? Are they running the plays? Like
If they chose to, they could.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
If the GM and the
I
head
tried.
coach. No. Let me explain. Because I know before. Okay, so let's say the GM wants a change in the offense. What is he gonna do? Fire the head coach or bring in somebody else? Let's say like the Cowboys, they fired Mike McCarthy and they brought in Brian Schottenheimer because they wanted to change in the offense, and they fired defensive because again, change. Just like with Netflix, the Ari Emanuel and all that. If they want change, they're gonna have to bring change and change some shit around. Bring in new writers, fire the old ones, hire new producers, fire the old producers. Again, rinse and repeat. Change the command.
But Jerry Jones isn't on the sidelines telling the head coach what plays to run. That's the whole point.
Yeah, actually, if you know the Cowboys, you know goddamn what.
I was gonna say Jerry Jones is a terrible motherfucking. I was gonna say Jerry Jones is a terrible example, Brandon.
That's the only fucking owner I knew, and he was talking about the Cowboys. Leave me alone.
We could say a better example is Robert Kraft wasn't on the field telling Bill Belichick what the fuck to do.
No, there's also examples like I've heard about this happening in TV, to where like network execs step in and tell the showrunners, this is what we think you should put on your show. Because these are the people paying for that show. If they want something on your show and you don't give it to them, they'll say, well, then get the fuck off my network.
So I just want to state for the record, Brandon, we're out drawing pro wrestling times right now on Twitter. Let's go. Gold met in life. Oh, hold on. You know what?
Yeah, again, it's a chain of command.
Hold on. Now that you motherfuckers fucking around and got me in a bad mood, let me go on my sickle soapbox in a second, because this will fucking pay off.
Yeah, let's
probably get us on a better fucking note.
And we're gonna wait, DJ, before you go, and we're probably gonna wrap it up with that because we're coming up on 3 hours.
All right, fuck it.
But go ahead.
That's fine.
No, go ahead. Right after your soapbox.
So for my sickle soapbox for this week, I always forget this motherfucker when I always bring up his cronies. So you know what? He's finally gonna get some attention today. Slick Flair, Jordan. I know you're gonna listen to this eventually because you're obsessed with Brandon now, and by virtue, you're fucking still obsessed with me. I'm sick and tired of the fucking fake grandstanding and the stupid virtue signaling and trying to do some dumb shit. Your friend Hannibal got caught trying to defend a fucking pedophile and justify what he did because the age of consent in the UK is 16. Fuck both of you fucking pedophile defending motherfuckers, and fuck Hangman too for even taking a picture with the motherfucker. Because if y'all same community sat there and damn John Cena and damn Drew McIntyre and got motherfuckers on strike over Brock getting unsolicited piss videos, but when people are taking pictures with known sex offenders, or not even sex offenders, because I don't even think he got arrested, so I'm not even going to say that, even though Kenny Omega is still friends with Chase and Rance. So technically they are around, they do, you feel me, defend people who are friends with known sex offenders.
Aren't they friends with Joey Ryan too?
And Joey Ryan, but that's neither here or there. You defend that, but you don't damn one of your own for sitting here saying it's a gray area, you know, in terms of getting a 16-year-old drunk with the sole purpose of having sex with her. No, that's fucking wrong. In any fucking country, no matter if it's the UK, Brazil, Cuba, anywhere, it's wrong. In modern society where we aren't raised like fucking cavemen, where, you know, people aren't sold for property, that's not fucking cool. I'm sorry, it's not. And to sit here and try to defend a motherfucker who deservedly got made fun of by everybody this week. Hannibal went viral in ways he didn't even want to. Okay? And I enjoyed every fucking second of it. I loved everyone making fun of that fucker because of his stupid opinions and his hypocritical thoughts and his lying through his fat fucking sloppy teeth. It made my day. But to sit here and go after Brandon, to sit here and say, oh, to talk about him on a show that gets no views, you had to sit here and kiss Andrew Bay Dolla's ass and sucker up on his fucking sphincter to become his new fucking co-host. So get the fuck out of here. Don't sit here and try to badmouth me, even though I do want to shout out to you for at least getting the upgrade. But focus on your fucking rebrand and focus a lot less on me and Brandon. And yeah, keep the good work up, Andrew. You have shitty taste in co-hosts, but I like your opinion. At least you're not that biased.
And I just want to give a big shout out to @Callahan_IS. Something clever. This is a 60-year-old man who is obsessed with me. He will be in my replies all day long. He has this weird obsession with, homosexual oral sex. So I hope you enjoy it by yourself, you creepy old bastard. And on that note, we're coming up on 3 hours, so we're going.
Gray area.
And you got to learn the nuance of it. It's the nuance in the gray area. But on that, we're going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back not tomorrow, but the following Sunday, back to our usual time. And on that note, have a good night, everyone.